is Halloween nights under the lights in Philadelphia. And the Penn Quakers at Franklin Field, they've got everybody ready to go. We'll judge who's better between the Brown Bears and the Penn Quakers. I think we already had our best costume of the night right there. As Brown has made the trip from Providence, Penn taking the field under the lights on a Friday night. It's time for Ivy League football. Take you to the Ivy League standings. Harvard, the lone undefeated team in the conference, but look how tight it is amongst those teams at 2-1, including Penn. Brown may be 0-3 in the conference, but they have 3 non-conference wins, including against nationally ranked URI. And it is great to have you with us alongside Jack Ford. I'm Eric Freed. Welcome to a very chilly and breezy Franklin Field on Halloween night, and I expect to have a shootout here tonight. What do you think, Jack?
I think that if you like offensive football, you probably want to pull up a chair and make yourself comfortable, because I think that's what we're going to see tonight. Two teams, both average about 30 points a game. Both have nationally ranked quarterbacks and extraordinary wide receivers. They play fast. They fill the air with football. So I think a shootout could well be something we're going to catch here. And just a reminder, at this point in the Ivy season, every game, including this one tonight, can have a significant impact on who ultimately wins the Ivy League title and then gets that chance for the first time to play for a national championship.
Let's start with Brown. Heartbreak last week in Ithaca. They lost this double overtime, but this is a team that can put up the points, and they love to run a lot of plays.
They play fast, 80 to 100 plays. They're led by number 15, James Murphy, first-year starter as a junior. But the Brown folks think that he could well be the next in a long line of exceptional Brown quarterbacks. He's big, 6'5", he's got a strong arm. Maybe his greatest strength is he sees the field and he can distribute the ball. As you can see here, how many guys have caught passes from James Murphy?
When you talk about catching passes for Penn, they've got the dynamic duo that you're going to hear a lot about here tonight.
You look at these two guys, in 17, Jared Richardson, number 7, BC Owens. They are arguably the best receiving tandem in all of FCS football. They're both big. Richardson 6'2", BC Owens even bigger, 6'4". They can make the tough catches over the middle, and they both have the speed to take the top off of a defense. So once again, quarterback Liam O'Brien has 2 wonderful targets to throw to here. I think we're going to see an offensive shootout tonight.
Last 5 meetings between these two teams, it's been tight. They've been thrilling games, and there have been a lot of points scored. Brown will receive the opening kickoff. Penn won the toss, they deferred, so Brown set to receive, and we are set for football. The wind is howling here tonight at Franklin Field. The temperature in the 50s, feels a lot chillier than that, and a fair catch, and Brown will bring that offense onto the field. That means James Murphy, the junior from Reading, Mass. Now, just when I say how windy it is, the Ivy League flag decides to go limp on me. Come on now.
Yeah, you can trust both of us. It's windy here.
Brown averaging just about 26 points a game. They will play with tempo. They were trying to find their running game against Cornell, could not, just 32 yards on the ground. They said to us this week, James Perry did specifically, that's an area they need to get going. They need to find some yards on the ground, and Murphy is the guy who will throw it for the Brown Bears. They do go to Childs, and this is a great start for Brown. Big hole for Matt Childs, and the sophomore from Medway, Mass. picks up 9.
As you mentioned, Brown needs to have some balance. They know that James Murphy can throw the ball. He's been successful. They need to get something from the ground. We talked about Childs. He was the Ivy League Rookie of the Year last year, banged up last week, but they're counting on them tonight to give them some more balance between the run and the pass.
Ran for a career best 94 yards against Princeton. Murphy on second and short looks big and gets a big play. Trevor Foley hauls it in, and a great start for Brown, and they are sprinting to the line after that first down pickup, 45 yards.
They've got 6 different receivers that James Murphy will regularly throw to. 84 high points the ball, brings it down. We know that they like to get one-on-one with their wide receivers. They think their wide receivers are as good or better than anybody who's going to try to cover them man-to-man. And we just saw the success with that great throw by James Murphy.
Foley's 11th catch of the season came in with 10 catches, 148 yards. Solomon Miller is the number 2 receiver for this Brown team. Ty Pezza is number 1. But as Jack mentioned, they'll spread the wealth a little bit, a lot of different receivers, but this is one thing to get used to. A lot of players shuttling in and out, and they're going pretty quick in the play clock.
They'll hustle up here. Now, they look to get, we talked about 80 plays run, but they don't always hustle up and snap the ball right away.
Jackson Bennett in the backfield, and Bennett is stopped at the line, and Penn's defensive line with a good stop. They're giving up on average 25.5 points a game against the run, 156 yards a game. That's 6th in the Ivy League, so they've struggled to stop the run, but not on this play.
Yeah, and this play, it's a very active defense that you have here. Now, the problem is they lost 5 starters off of this defense from what they anticipated coming into preseason, so they've had to fill a lot of gaps. There are a lot of young guys playing, especially on that front line and in the defensive secondary.
3rd down and 8. A couple of moments ago, they had a big play, a 35-yard completion to Trevor Foley. What can Murphy do here on 3rd down? Pressure from Penn, thrown outside again to Foley, and Foley tried to turn it up. Comes up short. Now this is into the breeze, although it's, as I mentioned a moment ago, not as stiff a wind as we had right before kickoff. They'll leave the offense on the field here, the Barracks.
We saw pressure come up the middle and get in James Murphy's face. Pressure from number 44, captain linebacker and all-everything linebacker, John Lista for Penn. He just went up the middle, got some pressure, pushed it in. Murphy was able to complete the pass, but he didn't have much time to do it. Let's see what they decide to do here on 4th and 2.
4th down and 2. There was movement up front by Brown, so that will move them back 5 yards.
So I'm pretty sure.
Start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Anthony Florio, our referee tonight, Jack.
Yeah, good. And pretty sure when we said let's see what they decide to do on 4th and 2, it wasn't to have guys jump offside and kick them back 5 yards. Let's see now how this changes the play clock. Obviously, 4th and 2, you got a whole lot of things you can run. 4th and 7 now limits the play calling sheet to what you can call.
That's Pezza in motion on 4th down and 7. Plenty of time for Murphy. That one sails a bit. It's tipped in the air and intercepted. Penn gets the pick. Josh Narcisse takes it back towards midfield. A great start.
On the field is an interception. 1st down, Penn.
For that Penn secondary, just their 3rd interception of the season. Narcisse with the pick, and Penn will take over. But first, you got to bang the drum to let everybody know.
If you watch this, Murphy had plenty of time to throw that ball, but he chose to throw it in an area where he had at least 3 defenders surrounded. So they're going to go back. Ball gets tipped by one of them. They're going to go back when they look at the film and they say, you had some other guys here. Don't have to force it down the field. Take what the defense gives you.
Jaden Drayton, who's a converted wide receiver into the secondary, he's the one who got a hand in there, and a one-hand grab attempted by Jared Richardson on the pass by Liam O'Brien, the quarterback, the senior from Boulder, Colorado, who started at the end of last season. He's been the man all season long, completing 64% of his passes this year, 254 yards a game. That's good for 2nd in the Ivy League.
And this guy is just a great leader. The coaches just talked to us. Coach Ray Priore said he's got moxie. The team will follow him.
Dante West in motion. O'Brien throws across the middle, wobbly. Ball caught by Richardson for a 1st down. Jared Richardson, a 2-time Ivy League Player of the Week this season. That's his 48th catch for Ray Priore, now in his 10th season as Penn's head coach.
Looks like Penn's trying to go fast, mirroring what Brown's been doing here.
Dante West with a hole up the middle and a good gain on 1st down for the sophomore from Forestville, Maryland, with his 29th carry of the season.
Let's go back to Liam O'Brien, because he's a guy, as you mentioned, took over late in the season last year, had one game where he was the National Player of the Week. So he has the talent. This is the first season that he's getting the start from start to finish, and he's easily grown into this role.
Back to the grounds, and West is going to be close to the 1st down marker. It's going to be a 3rd down and about 1. West is the lead back now with Julian Stokes out for the rest of the year due to an injury. Sean Williams, Tommy Lafayette also will get carries in the backfield, and O'Brien has been the guy who's really run the ball a lot for this Penn team this year.
And he's dangerous. This is exactly where he's dangerous. 3rd and 1. You get the ball in his hands. There's a lot of good things that can happen for Penn.
Out of the pistol, they go back to the ground. A little more traditional look here, and a good run and a first down. West brought down by John Perdue, the leader of the defense for Brown. And Penn's got 1st and 10 from just outside the 20.
You mentioned a more traditional look. Last week against Yale, Penn was trying to adjust to the loss of Julian Stokes. And what they were doing, you can see here now, great blocking, a seam. He puts his foot in, and he goes north and south and delivers. I'll finish the thought in a second.
O'Brien throws it up for grabs, looking for BC Owens. 6'4" target, almost pulled it in. It's incomplete.
So last week at Yale, Penn was trying to figure out, what are we going to do now? So what they were doing were essentially really featuring Liam O'Brien. He became their #1 running back. They had a lot of empty backfield sets. They'd snap the ball to him. You'd see this sort of stretch zone blocking by the lineman. He would drift to one side or the other, find an opening, and turn it upfield. The coaches told us they're going to try not to have him carry as much this week.
It's been the case so far here, and another good run by Dante West. Yeah, a lot of empty backfield sets last week for Penn, and O'Brien was hit quite a bit against Yale. And there is Juice Stokes. Suffered that leg injury before the Yale game, and they really miss him in the backfield, but more importantly, in special teams. Dynamic, the best kick returner in FCS football. You see the numbers for Stokes. Sean Williams Jr. in the backfield now, 3rd down and 5 for the Quakers on their opening drive. O'Brien has an open man in the middle. That's down to the 10. That's going to be enough for a first down. And the completion to the senior from Jacksonville, Davis Ellis, with his 10th catch of the season.
It's interesting, you look at Ellis, and he's obviously a talented receiver. You can see once again, here's the key. Liam O'Brien, plenty of time. He can wait, he can step into that throw. Ellis, as you said, the 10th catch. The other two guys, the top receiver, have a total of 86 coming into the season. So give you a sense of how much they rely on those two receivers.
And Ellis on the field because Alex Haight, who would be their #3 receiver, is out with an injury. Back to the ground, another handoff by O'Brien. No carries yet for O'Brien, who has carried the ball 80 times this season.
I just have to believe now that they're down to the goal line, they're going to start thinking, all right, we got some plays here. We keep the ball in his hands and see what #2 can do. He's already on the ground. He's already generated 6 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. So he's somebody who, when they get into the red zone and into the deep red zone, you're going to look to him to keep the ball in his hands.
2nd down and goal for the Quakers. West in motion. Here's the first run for O'Brien. Breaks a tackle. He is a strong runner. He's tough to bring down. He's into the end zone, but a flag is thrown. And if I had to guess, I'd say this touchdown's coming off the board.
But it does illustrate what we were talking about.
Holding. Offense. Number 51. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So
Penalties were, Jack, let me just throw in 10 penalties, 110 yards for Priori's team at Yale last week. Yale had a lot of penalties in that game too, but that was a costly part of that game for Penn. Again, the game that they lost to New Haven, 35-13.
Penn did not look like the Penn team you can see right now. One of the things that happens is now your quarterback is changing directions, coming back out around you. You see him get a little bit of an arm bar, an arm block on the left arm of the defender. But once again, that illustrates what we were talking about before. You get close to the goal line, you're going to see #2 keep the ball an awful lot.
2nd down and goal, ball out to the 15-yard line. O'Brien steps into it right at the goal line and waiting for the signal. Brown says incomplete, but the officials say that's a complete pass. BC Owens with the grab at the 1. BC has made some tough catches this year.
He's a guy, he's big. Look at him. He's 6'4", 215, but he's good at going down low to grab balls. And receivers will tell you the toughest catch to make is that down low because it's hard to see the ball into your hands. But it looks like, might be taking a look at this here, the officials.
Timeout. Brown, their first of the half. 30 seconds in length.
All right, so Brown's going to take a timeout here. That'll give us a chance to look at that catch by Owens. There wasn't an indication that I saw quickly from an official. Then I saw, I think there was a line judge who came in and said,
and I couldn't tell. He was like, "Are you going to give me this catch or not?" Steps into the throw. We can see it here, right over the middle. Owens going down.
I saw a little bounce there, but was his hand under the ball?
Yeah, that's not a good. Remember, the ball can hit the ground if you have control of it. Right? If the ground gives you control of the ball, then that's where it's going to be a no-go.
There's James Perry, the Brown head coach, who called the timeout. Looking for a stop here on 3rd down and goal. Penn at 46% on 3rd down this season, but they were just 4 of 15 against Yale. They're looking for a touchdown and pushing forward. No signal yet. And now finally the arms go up. Touchdown, Penn. And this is the signal we give the neighborhood kids that we're almost out of candy on Halloween night. Flicking the lights, yes. Touchdown for the Quakers. Took a little while for them to decide that it was a score.
Clear out the bottom of that pile to see how he ends up. You can get a good look at it right. No, it's not a good look. Get a bit of a look here, but clearly the officials were satisfied that the ball broke the plane.
So there's Mason Walters, the freshman, on to attempt the point after. He is a perfect 16 for 16 on the season. So Penn's defense gets the interception on the 4th down pass play by Brown. They march down the field and they put 7 on the board. And the Quakers have a 7-0 lead on Halloween night at Franklin Field. It began with the BC Owens catch, securing it, kind of, and then just inching his way into the end zone, Dante West, and Penn is on top of the first. Ray Priori this week for Penn talked about we need more 7s than 3s. Wanted to be aggressive. That wasn't a spot where you're like, oh, they're being aggressive. But it was a great opening drive. Yeah. And they got the 7 out of it.
Has to be happy. Talked about some balance. Has to be happy with the balance. Got some good running on the ground there by Dante West. You know, Ray Priori is an interesting guy. I love talking with him. When you talk about lifers in football, there are not too many of them anymore. Ray Priori is 39 years here at Penn as a coach, the last 10 as a head coach. He loves this place. He's been successful here. These are great stories when you see guys who stay around at the same place.
Fair catch called for. No return by Brown. And they'll bring the offense onto the field. So the turnovers are always a big part of the story for any team in football. It's been a huge part of the story for Brown this year. They may be a +2 in turnover margin, which is good for 3rd in the Ivy League, but in wins and losses, it's a clear line. They've been negative in each of their losses in margin. They've been positive in each of their 3 wins in margin. Right now, they're -1, and that interception led to points by Penn. But look at what they've done in their 3 wins, Jack, versus their 3 losses.
It's a theory that proves itself in terms of wins and losses.
Do you like what our graphics department did? Telltale turnovers, a little telltale heart reference on Halloween. I mean, I know you appreciate
some alliteration we've got going there. A lot of talent coming out of that.
It's an Ivy League broadcast, too. Let's just be honest.
Throw that out.
If you're on it.
We'll kind of stay away from deep philosophical thought, but alliteration and references to
Halloween
Halloween
gets out of
things
hand.
works.
I would like some deep philosophical
thought. As a history major, a lawyer, and a journalist, you're not going to get it from me.
Not going to get much in that area. In trouble, scrambling, and making something out of nothing was James Murphy. And it'll be a 3rd down and 7, maybe call it 8 for Brown.
It's interesting because Murphy doesn't run a lot. You know, some of their earlier stars at quarterback, E.J. Perry ran a lot. Jake Wilcox the last couple of years would run when he needed to. But he has the ability. We just saw that there. He can move in the pocket, and he can also tuck it and turn a negative into a positive.
See if he looks for Ty Pezza here on 3rd down and 7. Murphy will tuck it away and run, and he'll have enough for a 1st down Takes it out to the 38-yard line, and Brown will move the chains.
So all we have to do is say Murphy doesn't run a lot, and then he turns around 2 consecutive plays, gets a first down. But you can see that. He's big. Look, he's 6'5". I was down the field standing next to him. He might be even bigger than that. But he finds an opening, takes advantage of it, and gets what he needs to keep the chains moving.
Brown 39% on third down this season, so a conversion there. Trying to set up the screen. Jackson Bennett's out to about the 44-yard line.
They will use their backs coming out of the backfield, quick swing like that, or even wheel patterns up the sideline an awful lot.
Play action, trying to get the tight ends involved. The tight ends did not have any receptions in Ithaca. They have one tonight. Dylan Golden with his 9th catch of the season into Penn territory, first down Brown.
Penn has had a history, along with filling the air with footballs and extraordinarily talented quarterbacks. They use their tight ends. They've had some really good tight ends here the last 10 years or so. But I think you're right. I think they're starting to feel they need to weave the tight ends in a little bit more. I mentioned the running backs. Matt Childs is the second leading receiver, 22 catches. So they will use their backs, and they want to get some more production from their tight ends.
First down and 10. Murphy to pass. Throws underneath, and there is Ty Pezza. Pezza with a block downfield, and Pezza will jog into the end zone with a Brown touchdown. Pezza had a lot of open field. Trevor Foley, number 84, made sure he would go untouched into the end zone, and Brown with a great answer. They march down the field, and they're a point after away from tying it here in the first.
Ty Pezza, another big receiver, another 6'4" guy, but he can run. They had time right there to clear off the field, let him drag right to left, and you can see there was a lot of man-to-man coverage. So once he got dragged across, that's one of the things you do against man-to-man coverage. Drag one side or the other, try and beat the coverage, and you've got room to run.
Drew Crabtree, the freshman, on to attempt the point after. And Crabtree puts it through. Ty Pezza with his 5th touchdown reception of the season. 44 yards. Give credit to Foley with the block downfield as well. And Brown comes right back to tie it up in Philly. Welcome back to the 93rd meeting all time between Penn and Brown. And that's what Brown likes to do. Move it quickly. 6 plays, 75 yards, 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Murphy to Pezza. Murphy's 9th touchdown of the season. Go against 10 interceptions. That has been an issue for Murphy and James Perry, but that's great response after that Penn touchdown off of the Murphy turnover.
And seeing them do what you and I had talked about, which is they want to play fast. They want to keep the defense on the field, wear them out. They feel like they're in better shape than anybody else, and they can do that. They feel it's definitely an advantage for them to move the ball quickly.
Crabtree goes with the bouncer into the breeze, and it's picked up by an up back. Trying to bounce it outside. And getting outside the 30-yard line, maybe to the 31-yard line. Brock Cornell on the return.
So take a look here. First key is plenty of time, because this is a long developing play. He needs Pezza to drag underneath right to left. The receivers on the left side have cleared out the field. That's why you see very few Penn defenders there. Once they make the completion, he turns the corner, he gets one block, and he's into the end zone. So it was great design, great execution by Brown.
Let's see what Brown could do defensively. This is the team that leads the Ivy League in sacks this season with 16. Let's see if they can get any pressure on O'Brien. Flag being thrown. Probably going to be another holding here on Brown, and O'Brien is knocked out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Flag down.
I think it might be a loss of a yard or two on the play, so I wonder if Perry will decline it. Looks like he might.
Holding. Offense, number 51. Penalties declined. Second down.
Actually, loss of 3 on the play as they spotted at the 27-yard line, so the penalty is declined. You were on the field in New Haven for that Penn-Yale matchup, and there were plenty of flags in that game.
Boy, it was a flag festival, both sides. But Penn hurt themselves badly. You know, penalties never help you, obviously, but they had some really unfortunate moments for them. You don't expect to see that from a Penn team, and the Coach Ray Pierre, was lamenting how they played.
O'Brien gets it in the hands of one of his playmakers. Owens on the outside, and he cruises forward across the 33-yard line. Third down and long coming up for Penn. Owens, a senior out of Maryland, who had 35 catches last year. He's over 40 catches already this season. This is game number 7 of the 10-game season in the regular season for Penn.
He's an exceptional athlete. Said he's 6'4". He was the county basketball player of the year down in Maryland, where he came from. Interestingly, he was a quarterback, as was Richardson coming out of high school. And somebody made the decision, let's see if these guys can catch the ball, and they turned them into All-American caliber wide receivers.
Third down and 7. O'Brien throws to one of those excellent receivers. Jared Richardson hauls it in for a Penn first down.
You will see both 17 and 7 make a lot of those 15, 18 yards kind of turn in plays. We'll see this here because the defenders are so worried about them taking off deep. So they're giving them enough of a cushion. They find the opening, they turn in, they square up to their quarterback. And this is something that Penn has been living on all season long, throwing to 17 and 7.
That was in front of Brown's top cornerback, Elias Archie. Sean Williams into Brown territory across the 50 to the 48-yard line.
And that play with Elias Archie holding off a little bit gives you a sense of how they fear the speed of 17-7, because Elias Archie is a track star. He has some records up at Brown for speed, so even he is giving a little cushion to Richardson and to BC Owens.
You also got to look at number 20, Miles Brophy, the junior from Austin, who was unable to play last week against Cornell. Great move by O'Brien, and he ducks forward for a first down. But Brophy out on the field, so that's a good sign for the secondary for Brown. Number 20 is out there today, but O'Brien with a shifty little run of 7 yards to move the sticks.
Here's the thing that O'Brien does, and it's frustrating for the defenders. He never gives anybody a really solid hit. You know, he just, as you said, he kind of slivers around, he turns his body, he gets some yardage. He just doesn't take solid hits, which is good because he's been carrying the ball an awful lot here. But that's he's not blazing fast, he doesn't have great power between the tackles, but he does generate positive yards on the run.
We'll hand it off to Pup Williams, and Williams picks up a couple more. Yeah, just to finish the thought on O'Brien, 302 yards a game in total offense. That's number 1 in the Ivy League. Gives you an idea. He's got Owens, he's got Richardson. He loves going to those wideouts, but he'll also pick up the yards on the ground.
You'll hear from the coaches, he doesn't do any one thing great, but he does everything really well. Plus, he's a leader, and that's probably the definition of what you want for a quality quarterback.
Closing in on a minute to go here in the first quarter. Back to the grounds. Purdue with the stop on Williams after a gain of 3.
You go back to O'Brien, number 2. He was an All-American lacrosse player coming out of high school. You can see the comparisons here. What they do, very similar. Passing yards per game, total offense, because O'Brien's a runner. He's got a little bit more touchdowns, a few more because he's got 5 or 6 running touchdowns. But similar in terms of their production.
Movement up front, a little delay, but then the flag flies.
Well,
you see both sides pointing at each other.
Everybody's pointing. They always do.
Penn said it was them. Brown saying it was them. The officials are the ones who are discussing it, and I'm sure they're talking it through right now.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Again, to finish the thought on O'Brien, Coach Fiore told us that he came out of high school. He was an All-American lacrosse player. He was going to go to Cornell and play. His dad actually had played football and lacrosse at Cornell. And he took a PG year, and that's where the Penn coaches discovered him. And they'd said, come on, come here. And he was willing to say, all right, I'll put my lacrosse career on hold. Let me come and play some football for the Quakers.
Well, you can still bring that lacrosse mentality to the field.
You can do that, and we see that.
On third down, nice move inside to get the first down just inside the 30. That's enough. Getting the tight end for Penn involved. Michael Hagerty with his 3rd catch of the season. That will be the final play of the first quarter. Touchdown for Penn to get things started. The first career touchdown for Dante West came after the interception, but then Brown answered back. Murphy to Pezza, 44 yards, even at 7 on Halloween nights, or Friday nights in Philadelphia. On Halloween night, you better be dressed as Ben Franklin.
Who do you expect to see, right?
I love this look here because they got the glasses to sell kind of the look as well.
But how about the ball dome? I mean, that
I
took a
thought that
lot.
was their
Look
actual.
at that. Yeah. I'm thinking probably
you
not.
think
I'm
that's
thinking these guys are probably students, so we don't have that the disappearing hair yet.
You think I was like buy 6 get 1 free? They went shopping together. First play of the second quarter, big opening for O'Brien, and O'Brien ducks out of bounds inside the 10. 1st and goal for the Quakers, 21 yards for the Penn quarterback.
That's what he does, right? And that's what you have a hard time defending against. Drops back, has plenty of time, doesn't see it, pumps, and now knows that he's got man-to-man coverage. So everybody in the back end has their back turned, covering their men, which leaves a huge lane for him to run down and get him inside now the 10-yard line.
10th play of the Penn drive. First down and goal from just inside the 10. O'Brien looking outside and making the adjustment and making the catch for the touchdown. B.C. Owens, the Quakers go back in front.
So here's where you've got to feel a little bit bad for defensive backs, because that was pretty good coverage, but they couldn't get around the 6'4", 215-pound body of B.C. Owens. Look, he's there, but he takes up a lot of space. He was a great basketball player. I mentioned County Player of the Year. He boxed him out.
Point after is good, and Penn is in front 14-7. O'Brien to Owens, 9 yards for the touchdown. 4th touchdown reception from the senior from Cooksville, Maryland. Made the move inside of Archie to score for the Quakers in Philly. Tomorrow, SEC on ABC College Football Tripleheader starts at noon. 20th ranked Texas taking on Diego Pavia. Number 9 Vandy. Then number 5 Georgia and Florida square off in Jacksonville. Something about a cocktail party, I believe. And we cap the day with 14th ranked Tennessee hosting number 18 Oklahoma in Knoxville. Each game is also available on the all-new ESPN app. SEC All Day presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts, of course. The question is, will Arch Manning get out of concussion protocol in time for the game for Vandy tomorrow to lead the Longhorns against the Commodores?
And if you're a Texas fan.
By the way, before I forget, Ray Priori maybe we should just let this one go. Ray was happy to talk to us this week and happy to see us tonight, but
I want you to do the line there so I don't have to stumble over it, right?
Friday Night Frights 0-5 since we began bringing you these Friday night games on ESPN2.
Unfortunately, he doesn't want you to be responsible for it. At least not yet, depending on what happens tonight. Question, Arch Manning, does he come back having the best game of his career so far last week, leading him in that epic comeback against Mississippi State?
14-7, Penn on top. Brown will look for a return as the wind now at their back here in this quarter. And Najai Rahman with the return, and Brown will bring the offense back on the field. So O'Brien marches down the field, 4 of 4 passing, 38 yards. He rushed it 3 times for 25 yards, 10 plays, 70 yards for the touchdown.
A really good illustration of how they operate, because they took twice as much time, almost the same amount of yardage to get their touchdown as Brown did. We talked, Brown wants to get 80 plays in at least. Penn is okay setting things up. They're not going to move slowly, but they're okay. But right there is a vivid illustration. Twice as much time, covered the same amount of yardage for Penn, but results in the same thing, a touchdown.
Here's James Murphy, 6 of 8 passing so far, 106 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, throwing on first down, and in trouble on first down. Big loss on the play as Penn gets the sack. Jake Davis gets there for his second sack of the season.
You can see Penn, a little bit of a twist up front coming from the left side, Brown's left side, allowed them to get into the face of James Murphy. They don't do a lot of blitzing, so they were able to get the pressure with their 3 down guys, and then one additional linebacker steps up.
Pass to Pezza, out past the original line of scrimmage, falling across the 25-yard line. Carter Janke was in there on that sack as well, so we'll see if they give Janke and Davis each a half sack. For Janke came in with 2 sacks on the season. Leader up front for that Penn defense with Paul Jennings out with an injury.
We talked
Jennings,
about
outstanding lineman for Penn.
The injuries they've suffered. They said and 5 guys off of what they thought would be the starting defense. Janke's the only one from those original defensive line starters who's still playing.
Pezza outside to the 32. That's going to be about a yard short of the first down marker, and it will be 4th down.
We saw 44 John Lister looking back at the play here. What Pezza does is, again, he's big, but he's got enough speed to make the defenders worry about him. So he starts the drive deep, breaks it off. The timing is perfect between Murphy and Pezza, has been good all year long, and that's what you're going to see those Brown receivers doing.
Murphy splits wide to the left as Brown, for the moment, looks like they're going for it on 4th and 1 from inside their territory, and they go to what they call their Kodiak look, and that's enough for a first down. Quentin Brown, who is their short yardage guy, takes the direct snap and picks up the first down. So Brown gambles just outside the 30-yard line and gets the first down.
They don't do this a lot, gambling, but you can see they pull the backside to lead him. You mentioned he's their short yardage guy. He was for last year also. Last year had 9 touchdowns in those short yardage situations, so he can find where he wants to be.
That pass is incomplete, intended for Michael Nesbitt on the overthrow by Murphy. So Brown now 1 for 2 tonight on 4th down. They were 2 for 4 against Cornell. That was a heartbreak day for Brown. They lost 30-24 in double overtime. They led 17-6 with less than 4 minutes to go at Sholkoff Field, but the Big Red battled back to win in double OT.
Now, I should correct myself. I said they don't do it a lot. They actually do. They've gone for it coming into this game 16 times on 4th, and they've converted on 8. So if you're getting 50% of them, it makes sense to them to say, you know, let's keep trying it, because so far we're doing pretty well.
I think they're trying to get the chains squared away on the far side of the field, and James Perry is making sure it works since he's over there. He's willing to help all the officials want right here.
Talking about moving some chains, James Perry was awfully good at moving chains when he played. See what I did with that there? He was awfully good moving chains. I mean, for a long time, he had the Ivy League record. Ivy League record for passes. Recently broken, I think, by Jeff Matthews up at Cornell, but he could fling the ball.
Back to the ground, back to Matt Childs, and Childs has a couple. Talked about it in Ithaca. This was the comeback for the Big Red. 17-6 was the score. Garrett Bassapizio got in for a touchdown. Cornell in OT went in front, and then Brown, talk about the heartbreak. 4th down and 1 from the 5-yard line. They could not pick up the first down, and Cornell had their first Ivy League win. They were celebrating at Sholkoff, 30-24 the final. 3rd down and 8. Murphy bounces outside and will just throw it away. Good pressure once again put on. They combined for the sack earlier. Janke and Davis were the ones giving chase to Murphy, and Brown will punt.
Good pressure, as you mentioned. Good coverage on the back end. especially the young players on the back end of this Penn defense. He had most of the play working off to his left. When they took it away, he rolled a little bit to the right, but there was nobody for him to look to, so he was smart enough to say, let's live to play another day and let's just get rid of it.
Malcolm Flynn on to punt, averaging a little better than 39 yards a boot. We'll have the breeze at his back here. Jaden Drayton back deep. Drayton taking over the return duties with the injury to Stokes. Drayton looking for a return, no fair catch, and Brown on top of him quickly at the 26-yard line. Penn will bring the offense back onto the field, leading by 7, second quarter here at historic Franklin Field. This is Jack Ford's favorite part of the telecast. The history major at Yale can take us through some of the Franklin Field history.
And what a fabulous history it is. 1895 got started for the Penn Relays, but Penn football started playing here. Originally it was like wooden, you could see just wooden stands all around. In the 1920s they tore them down and started making it what it is now. Early version, it's the oldest continually functioning college football stadium. Army-Navy Classic, you can see there. The first time it was played not at Army or Navy, it was played here at Franklin Field, and if you follow that, you know that Philadelphia has become something of a home away from home for the Army-Navy game since. But
big run for Tommy Lafayette. That's just the start of Jack's history lesson. The professor will be back later in the telecast with more on Franklin Field.
Be ready to take some notes because there will be a test.
There usually is. Freshman from Georgia with his second carry here in the oldest stadium in college football.
Franklin Field, followed by Harvard Stadium, Kyle Field at Texas A&M, Fitton Field, the Holy Cross home, and Bobby Dodd Stadium for Georgia Tech. All great, venerable, traditional stadiums.
The difference is if those top two stadiums, Harvard Stadium and here, Franklin Field and Kyle Field, like Kyle Field surprised me because that looks nothing like.
If you see pictures, it looks like a high school kind of wooden stands around Kyle Field.
I mean,
still pretty big.
It's huge
back then,
though. I mean,
but now it's monstrous.
Yeah,
now it's monstrous.
I like coming here because it feels like I'm doing a game in 1895.
This looks like now what it looked like then. So does Harvard. So does Fitton Field at Holy Cross. The others a bit different. Not to say the Ivy ones are better, or we could say that actually, but it just means that the others are different.
O'Brien's got it. And Brown has him after a gain of about 2. 2 possessions, couple of touchdowns so far for Penn as they've had their way, pushing the ball down the field with O'Brien finding Owens and Richardson and keeping it himself, and now getting Lafayette involved on the grounds. 2nd down and 8. O'Brien throws it up deep, man coverage. Owens turns back for it, but it's incomplete.
Talked about BC Owens making those tough catches. He made another one outside the lines, unfortunately, but also gave you a shot of Liam O'Brien. You can see he doesn't panic, gets some pressure, moves away from the pressure, eyes always downfield. That would have been a catch.
Almost got
just
that.
Needed about another yard on that side.
3rd down and 8. Penn struggled on 3rd down in New Haven last week. They were 4 of 15. O'Brien trying to set up the screen. Does so to Lafayette. Blockers in front. Down to the 35. Knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. 1st down for the Quakers. They convert on 3rd down, and Lafayette's banged up.
Set this up perfectly. Offensive lineman block, then allow the defenders to come through, and they're able to swing out to provide some blocking downfield. Tommy Lafayette picks his way through, finds his opening, gets banged up a little bit at the end. They told us that they're going to use him. They're very high on his potential here.
Center Ryan Mitchell was among those leading the charge down the field. O'Brien throws on the run. Owens turns back inside. Nice move to get inside the 10. 1st and goal from the Quakers. Pickup of 24.
When O'Brien's able to get to the edge, as he did here. You can see right now that Owens, second in the stagger, works his way in and then cuts out. And by this time, the deep man has gone with number 10. There is nobody in the short range, and 7 is slow getting over. So a well-designed play. Again, with O'Brien coming to the outside, it puts pressure on the defenders to contain him from the outside.
O'Brien very efficient, 11 of 14 passing in the first half. As Penn knocking on the door again on top, 14-7. O'Brien to Owens. Owens reaching for the pylon. Touchdown! BC Owens using that long reach to get another Penn touchdown, his second of the night. And the Quakers up 2 scores.
See right now, and what that fake did, you can see, is it just froze the linebacker. And it's kind of unfair to have a linebacker trying to coverage BC Owens on the outside, but the run fake was enough to just freeze him for a split second, and that allowed Owens to get some separation. Now the question here is...
Yeah, it's under review right now. That forearm looks to be down.
Forearm is down, so the ball...
Yeah, I think he's a little short.
I think you're right. I think he's a little bit short there.
But video review has it right now, so we'll just wait for it. But that first looked like maybe they're going to spot it inside the 1.
Good design of the play, so you end up, you can see 51 chasing after BC Owens. It's kind of not fair to ask a linebacker to cover a guy that big, that fast, that talented when he has a head start on him. So good design. You know what Penn has been trying to do, they've been trying to get to both BC Owens and Jared Richardson coming out of the backfield. Take another look here. Right.
Look at the eyes of Owens, so wide, his eyes on that pylon.
And remember, if the hand can go down and you're not down. If the elbow goes down, you are considered down. So the question will be, we saw the elbow go down, where was the ball?
After review, the runner was down at the half-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal at the half-yard line.
He's actually probably down about the 4-inch line, but there is not a 4-inch line. So they've got to find a line to put it down, so they're going to go with the half.
So no touchdown yet for Penn, but they've been able to move the ball at will against this Brown defense. Sean Williams in the backfield with O'Brien on 2nd and goal from inside the 1. And Williams will leap into the end zone for the Penn touchdown. West has the touchdown, Owens has a touchdown, and now Williams, the junior from Baltimore, has his 2nd touchdown of the season, 20-7 with a point after coming.
See here, just straight on blocking. Williams finds a seam.
Point after is good. 8 plays, 74 yards, 3 minutes and 35 seconds as Penn goes up 2 touchdowns.
BC Owens is the guy who made the play here. You know, Coach Priori said to us, we need balance coming into this game. The balance that they did not have against Yale last week. So far tonight, they've got balance between the run and the pass, up 21-7.
Kick off your Week 9 NFL Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app. They'll have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, previews of each game right up to kickoff. Halloween night, Jack and I like kind of taking stock of what's happening in the stands. I think that's the Brown band, right? Or part of the Brown? Yes, that's the Brown band. That's on the other side of the field. So they came dressed and ready for the show. Liam O'Brien, all business on Halloween night. His team up 21-7.
Look at the costumes. My 10-year-old grandson, Bennett, asked me yesterday, so are you guys going to wear costumes for Halloween at the game? And I said, I don't think so.
Don't you like what I wore? I wore the Jack. I'm dressed as Jack Ford tonight. Quarter zip, sharp tie,
That's right. Okay.
natty jacket.
I think you just won the award for best costume.
Kick out of the end zone, touchback, and Brown will bring the offense back on the field. Well, Brown's got to score points here because for the moment, their defense unable to do anything against this Penn offense. Well, Brown can't have any empty possessions going forward here, you would think, Jack.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised. You and I were just talking about the performance of the Brown defense. Coach James Perry said this is the best defense he's had in the 7 years he's there, but we haven't seen them generate any real pressure. Liam O'Brien has had plenty of time. If he gets flushed, he's been able to turn it into positive yardage. So the offense has got to score because we said this is going to be a horse race, and they need to stay close.
Thrown out. Receiver screen, read well by John Listup, who covers so much ground on the field. I know you're a big fan of number 44 because he's a Jersey Shore guy. He's been a fixture on this defense for Penn.
Yeah, he's a great player. Comes out of Rumson Fairhaven High School in the Jersey Shore, which has become a state powerhouse here. He has been, since he got here to Penn, he's been like one of their leading, if not their leading tacklers. You can see where he stands right now this season. But he's the kind of guy who he's going to find you on the field.
3 tackles tonight, giving him 50 on the season. Ty Cortez there defensively for the Quakers, but not enough as Pezza gets first down. That's what Brown needs. They need to move the chains here a little bit. They got to keep this defense on the sidelines for a little while here because they've been chasing Penn down the field right from the opening kick. Eli Jones gets the carry, and guess who? Lista. Well, his dad, Mike, was a captain here at Penn, defensive lineman on the 87 team. His uncle, Bill, a Penn captain on the 83 team. And you know what John is? Captain for this Penn team.
Blue and red in the blood.
Nifty little grab and a good pickup here by Matt Childs. Had to reach back with the one hand, make the grab, and in stride, kept those feet moving and picked up 17 and another Brown first down.
Even after missing most of the game last week, coming into this game, Matt Childs was their second leading receiver, so they like to get the ball to him. You got a sense of how good his hands are by that, but most important, you can see what he can do after the catch.
Childs has it. Once again, keeps the legs moving and is driven forward, 8-4.
Take a look at this. Once again, just a delay. They swing Childs out into the flat. You see him reaching back. That's a hard catch to make for a wide receiver, guys who used to making it, especially hard for a running back, but you can see how well he handled it.
Murphy on the run. Pass is complete to Pearson Hill. Hill not giving up without a fight. Another first down for Brown to the 29-yard line as we hit 5 minutes to go in the first half.
This is what Brown needs to do. They picked up their pace here. They're running fast here, spreading the ball out. We talked about James Murphy, 15, and his strength, distributing the ball to a lot of different receivers. We're seeing that on this drive.
So a reminder, too, that Penn, as Jack mentioned before, has had a lot of injuries on the defense, so they have some guys out there who aren't very experienced, and Brown now looking as sharp as they've had in a little while on the offensive end. Back to the ground. This is how they started. Childs, flag thrown as he's brought down at the 25-yard line. Cole Olston on the stop. A hold on Brown, though, will bring it back.
Holding. Offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. First down.
When you go fast like Brown does, it just feels like these penalties hurt you more. Now, of course, they don't. Every penalty is going to hurt you. But what it does is takes the yardage away and stops you in your tracks. So you haven't been able to just get on the ball the way they've been doing in this drive, the way they did on the first drive, as a matter of fact, until that interception slowed them down.
Aiden Smith called for the penalty. Thrown inside. Pass is complete to Matt Childs. It's one thing Brown does. Smith got called for that hold. They will rotate a lot of offensive linemen. Mostly with teams you see 5 guys, it's a unit. They're all kind of locked up mentally, physically. But for Brown, they'll run a lot of offensive linemen out there because they run so many plays.
They don't want to tire them out. James Perry said to us, well, they got like a pitch count on their offensive linemen, about 50 snaps, same for their wide receivers.
Jackson Bennett trying to stretch it out, cannot. Kadari Machin there on the stop. Machin, another guy who's been a fixture at the linebacking spot for Penn, 3-year fixture, senior from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Looked like there was a lot of room. Look at this, a lot of room, and then Machin just runs him down from behind. As you said, he's been around here for a long time, has made a lot of tackles for the Quakers. You can see the type of talent and speed he has right there.
Brown 1 for 4 on third down and 5, certainly 4-down territory, down by 2 touchdowns. As Murphy steps in, lofts it up, and the adjustment is made for the touchdown, but a flag is thrown, and we'll see what the call is. Solomon Miller with the grab.
Penn is saying offensive pass interference here. They're saying that Miller pushed off on 12 when the ball was up in the air. See what the officials have to say about this. Solomon Miller, their speed receiver.
Pass interference. Offense, number 8. 15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
You saw James Perry say no way about that. I said Solomon Miller's their speed receiver. Little hand fighting on both sides.
Oh, I agree with James Perry. I think Jay Drayton fell down.
It looked like he fell down. It looked like hand fighting all the way down the field. And usually if it's on both sides, you're not going to call it. Again, remember the key is you have to interfere with the other player's ability to make a play on the ball. Kind of looked like he just fell down.
The only flag I saw, too, was thrown from distance, middle of the end zone, too.
The official right on the play signaled touchdown.
And that's a bad break for Brown. Trying to make something out of it, and it's intended for Pezza, but it'll go incomplete. So let's see what Brown and Perry will do. They're going to bring the punt team on and try to play the field position game here and bringing Flynn on the field. Looks to me like they had a touchdown taken off the board.
I agree.
I mean,
there was an official on the left of those two players right there that did not throw the flag.
You know, look at Murphy's reaction, and then Miller turning around and seeing the flag thrown, and that's a bad break for Brown. Instead of getting their second touchdown of the half, they're going to punt it away here on 4th down and long. It'll make its way right along the goal line. I think this is going to be down inside the 1. Yes, and it's not a touchback. Great coverage, but how about the placement by Malcolm Flynn on that punt?
That looked to me like your lob wedge, just checking up and pulling back a little bit. That was fabulous punt and excellent coverage by Brown.
Spun it back. So that's inside the 1. That's where Penn will bring the offense onto the field. When we come back, Penn has not punted yet tonight. We'll see if they can go 99 yards when we come back to Philadelphia.
Who's the better team? It is wide open.
Can you believe it? Who's in the driver's seat to get to the playoffs?
The top 25 rankings reveal and 12-team CFP projection. Tuesday on ESPN.
Back at Franklin Field, 2:43 to go in the first half on Halloween nights. And Penn is on top 21-7. Penn is 4-2 overall, but most importantly, 2-1 in the Ivy League. So a critical game for the Quakers to keep pace with the top teams in the Ivy. They got that big showdown tomorrow between Harvard and Dartmouth at Harvard Stadium. I told you at the very top how many teams are in that 2-1 mix behind the Crimson. Well, this is going to be half the distance to the goal line. This will take it back to the 4-inch line that Jack was.
Ball stop. Offense.
Not much of a loss there. But, you know, you and I talked before about more pressure coming out of the Brown defense. What they showed there, now I don't know if they were going to pull out of it. I think they would have stayed with it. It showed there that they were going to put some pressure on Penn's offense here. They haven't been doing it. We know that they do it a lot during the season, but you and I talked about it. I think they're going to need to change up and start to put some pressure on Penn and on Liam O'Brien.
16 sacks on the season for Brown to lead the Ivy League. They're showing pressure here with West in the backfield with O'Brien. O'Brien brings in some reinforcements, trying to help up front. A little breathing room as West takes it out to about the 6-yard line.
I think West's been impressive so far tonight. You know, you talked before about the loss of Juice Stokes. You know, the coaches said when he had the ball in his hand, every play was a potential touchdown. I think it hurt the psyche of the Penn offense to lose him. But I think what you're seeing now, even a little bit more than last week, is you're seeing that Dante West is starting to step in. Look, he's not going to be Juice. They know that. But they want him to be Dante West. And I think if you take a look right there, what he's doing in terms of averages, every time he touches the ball and a touchdown, right now he's picking up the slack.
As a team, Penn rushing for 83 yards in the first half, 139 yards through the air, 222 total yards for the Quakers. 2-minute timeout here in Philly with Penn up 2 touchdowns. Jack a moment to unpack what's on your screen as I tell you Monday Night Football Cards taking on the Cowboys, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app, Peyton and Eli on ESPN2. Coverage kicks off with NFL Live at 3 Eastern from AT&T Stadium, then SVP and the Monday Night Countdown crew at 6 Eastern time.
Searching for a theme here. We got some ancient warriors, we got some modern warriors, we got some disco guys, and we have some leprechauns. So I'm not getting the theme. Maybe you are. But the good news is they're having fun.
I'm going to guess that is a frat house who all came together and there were just so many uniforms and costumes to go around. So they had to split it up by seniority, I'm guessing. Good stop at the 6-yard line. Sam Smith leading the way, the senior from Avon, Connecticut, came in with 38 total tackles on the season, good for 3rd best on the team.
I wonder if Brown might use one of those two timeouts they have left. They burned one first quarter when they were hoping the officials would take a look at the catch over the middle that BC Owens made.
Inside of 90 seconds to go, Owens on the field. Penn is 6 for 6 on 3rd down tonight. O'Brien, plenty of time again, looks for Owens again, and it's a 1st down for the Quakers. Gain of 6. Clock running, 1:10 to go in the half. 5th catch for BC Owens, 44 now in the season.
He is just great working over the middle. He finds those openings. If it's a zone, he'll find the vacuum, the spot, he'll square up. He can run past the defender because he has that kind of speed. So he is kind of evolving into the go-to guy in these tough situations for Liam O'Brien.
2nd in the Ivy League in total receptions, coming in behind this man, Jared Richardson, who has the catch, and the playmaker turns the corner. Knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Changes the story for Penn because with 37 seconds left, it doesn't seem like much, but they have 3 timeouts remaining.
So it's a little bit of a tunnel screen there to get the ball into 17's hands. There you can see what he can do afterwards. Now, he stumbles a little there, twice actually, and you'll see when he hit the ground, he rolled over and he hit himself in the helmet. He was angry that he had stumbled twice because he thought he might have taken that one to the house.
O'Brien facing pressure, gets away from pressure. Will keep it himself, and he'll jog out of bounds in Brown territory at the 45-yard line.
All right, so Penn now has 3 timeouts to work with. 29 seconds with the 3 timeouts. That means at this juncture they can work the middle of the field. They have timeouts if they need it. And 29 seconds can be an eternity when you have 3 timeouts to work with.
Ball spotted at the 46-yard line. Prevailing wind has been into Penn's face this quarter, so they need to get pretty far down the field to think about a field goal. O'Brien scrambling, still going, hit hard at the 35-yard line, and Penn will take a timeout with 19 seconds to go in the first half. O'Brien took a lot of hard hits against Yale last week. That's the hardest one that I think he's taken here tonight at the end of this run.
Right there, you look at the lacrosse player in him, right? The little ball fake, the way you fake with the ball in your lacrosse stick, then tucks it inside. We talked about this. He finds openings. He doesn't have great speed, he doesn't have great power, but he is an excellent runner.
Take a look at what's coming up tomorrow in the Ivy League. The 3 games, Yale, one of those 2-1 teams. They'll get things started against Columbia noon Eastern time. Princeton, Cornell, 1 Eastern time. Princeton is 2-1 in Ivy League. Big one tomorrow is Dartmouth and Harvard. Dartmouth 5-1 overall, 2-1 in the Ivy. Harvard ranked 12th, 6-0, 15th rather, 6-0 overall, 3-0 in the Ivy League. They are one of 6 undefeated teams remaining in FCS football.
That's a game I'm going to be sure to watch tomorrow, because that game has, in the last 10 years or so, always been a close game.
2 timeouts remaining for the Quakers. First and 10 from the Brown 34. O'Brien, and the pass is dropped. Incomplete pass. Dante West was taking a look for where he was going to run before he had secured the pass.
I think he was surprised he had so much room to run if he had secured the pass.
Remember, this drive started inside the Penn 1-yard line. And the timeout's going to be called by Brown. Second timeout called by the Bears, down 2 touchdowns, final seconds of the second quarter. When we get to halftime, Zuba Mahenti will have you covered. Take a look at Cincinnati and Utah in the Big 12, the playoff projections, highlights, stats, and more coming up at halftime.
After having that touchdown taken off the board for Brown, just in terms of momentum and psyche, they really can't afford to give up points here in the last few seconds. It was hard enough to lose that touchdown, but now if they let Penn come all the way from the, as you said, the 4-inch line at one point in time, and actually let them put some points on the board in the final 13 seconds here, and Penn's going to get the ball to start the second half, it can be a big momentum crusher for Brown.
Second and 10. O'Brien steps up, had to recock his arm. I think he lost the feel of the ball a little bit. You can see him pat himself on his number 2 there as it slipped out of his hand. He tried to get it back, but threw it incomplete. Third down coming up.
First bad throw, really, that you can see from him so far. I mean, he missed a couple others, but not badly. That one, I think you're right, Eric. I think he just sort of lost the grip on that ball.
Third down and 10. Penn 7 for 7 on third down today, helping them get this 21-7 lead. I think they've got to get pretty much to the 25 into this win to think about a field goal. O'Brien, another one that was off the mark. Ellis, the intended receiver. And what's the play here for Penn? Looks like they're going to give Mason Walters a shot from deep.
You know what? You're up 21-7. You know, I'm sure if you ask him, can he make it from here? Kicker's low. He said, yeah, sure. Of course I can make it from here.
And this is into the breeze here at Franklin Field. Walters has hit from 45 this year, and a timeout's going to be called by Brown. The flags on top of the goalposts on the uprights aren't doing too much. The flags at the top of the stadium continue to whip a little bit.
Yeah, and looks like, as you mentioned, looks like the wind would be in his face from here. So you're talking, this would be, for him to convert this into this wind would be an impressive kick.
See, on top of the uprights, too much, but there is something up there.
Yeah.
It's come down a bit since our opening kickoff.
I'm not so sure this is the time you would use it, but remember the holder is Liam O'Brien. So they might have something, try and spring somebody down a sideline.
Brown has a man deep in case this does come up short into the wind. A 51-yard field goal attempt by Mason Walters, and Walters gets a lot of leg into it, but it is going to be short into the wind, and here comes Ramon trying to return it, and he'll be brought down at the 10-yard line, and that will do it for the first half. Wind a little bit too much to fight there on that attempt by Walters, but this is a Penn team that was perfect on third down, didn't punt in the first half. They scored 3 touchdowns, and they take a lead to the locker room at halftime, 21-7, trying to improve to 3-1 in the Ivy League. BC Owens was so close, but Penn was able to punch it in. Owens had a touchdown earlier, and the Quakers in control at halftime in Philly. Halftime report coming up next. Back in Philadelphia, Halloween night. And that may be how they look and act if it's not Halloween night, the Penn band.
Penn students on a Friday night. There could be a lot going on.
And we haven't even got to the toast toss yet. That's still to come. Eric Freed, Jack Ford, back with you. Let's take you through the first half highlights. Penn has been on target and on fire on the offensive end. O'Brien, Owens, O'Brien, Richardson. They were 7 of 8 on third down in that first half. Plenty of big plays, plenty of offense for the Quakers. They scored 3 touchdowns, 282 total yards. For Brown, they moved down the field on an opening possession, but it ended with a 4th down interception.
For Brown, it was what might have been good drive, first time out, interception. Here is that touchdown into the end zone. Offensive pass interference called by an official toward the middle of the field. You saw James Perry, incredulous that that flag would have been thrown. Takes the touchdown off the board and takes the momentum away from Brown, leaving them with a 21-7 deficit.
Half of those total yards for Penn accounted for by Owens and Richardson, combining for 141 of the 282 total yards. Liam O'Brien in the first half, passing 13 of 19, 177 yards. Ray Priori and the Penn Quakers back on the field. That means we're getting closer to the kickoff of the second half. It will be Penn receiving when we come back. James Murphy, 13 of 18 passing in the first half. A touchdown and an interception, 179 yards for Murphy as Brown in catch-up mode as we get ready for the second half kickoff. What needs to change for Brown here and their head coach, James Perry, if they're going to get a comeback in Philly tonight?
They need to come up with points. You just mentioned James Murphy's stats, almost identical to what Liam O'Brien's passing stats were, but O'Brien's passing stats led them to 21 points. Murphy didn't get the balance on the ground. Now, Penn got much more on the ground than they were even probably hoping for coming into this. They had, if you look at their rushing yards, they ended up with 105 rushing yards in the first half alone. So Penn got the balance they needed. Brown has not gotten the balance they needed. They've gotten the offensive production from James Murphy and their receivers, but they haven't been able to convert that into points. And that's what they need to do in the second half.
You mentioned the rushing yards for Penn in the first half, 105. For the season, Penn averaging 122 rushing yards a game. That's 5th in the Ivy League. So good first half on the ground for the Quakers. Second half is underway, and they'll start with the touchback. Some of the other numbers of note from the first half as Penn brings the offense onto the field. We talked about the passing yardage, very close between the two quarterbacks. Turnovers key because there was the interception. It was a 4th down interception, but Penn took over and went down the field and scored their first touchdown. But the third down number jumps out. The only time they didn't convert on third down was on that last possession of that first half. So the Quakers able to get things done on third down in the first 2 quarters.
Coaches will say, here's some indicators of success: converting third downs, success in the red zone.
On the ground to Dante West. Big hole for West. And a great start on the ground as Penn keeps it going with the ground game on their first snap of the third quarter.
Dante West, you can see they pull the backside. He follows his blocker, finds a big seam, gets to the second level. Dante West emerging as the running threat that Penn thought they lost, and they did when they lost their star. To to it in a second.
17-yard rush on the previous play for West. Yeah, Julian Stokes, 225 yards, 156 all-purpose yards a game, 3-time Ivy League Special Teams Player of the Week, but the guy was the lead back in the backfield, but now that job belongs to Dante West.
And you're not going to replace Julian Stokes, but you need somebody else to step up, and that's what you're getting from Dante West tonight.
O'Brien throws to Richardson on the outs, and he's got it for the first down.
That's just a perfect throw. Again, you look at Richardson, he's such a big target, and both he and BC Owens know how to use their bodies to protect themselves, but that was good coverage. It was just a better throw by Liam O'Brien.
Brophy on the coverage, 20 yards on the completion to Richardson. Richardson now with 5 catches for 91 yards.
Take a look at this. Once again, Liam O'Brien is given plenty of time. That offensive line is really performing for Penn. He had about a 1-foot square window to fit that ball in, and he put it exactly where it had to be for this guy, 17, to make the catch.
Richardson's gone for 100+ 4 times this season. He's knocking on the door early in the third quarter tonight. Had 7 catches for 113 yards in the win against Brown last season. O'Brien goes down for the first time. Guess who? The 7th sack of the season for Ike Odemegwu. He is the Ivy League leader in that category. Brown didn't get a sack in the first half. They get one here to set up a 3rd down and long.
You can see the pressure coming just from 4 men rushing, but he just overwhelms his blocker. You mentioned he didn't play last year, but he has come roaring into this season. You said 7 sacks right now, halfway through the season.
Didn't play the last 2 years, making up for lost time this season with those 7 sacks. O'Brien trying to let the screen develop. It's intercepted into the arms of John Purdue. There is a flag down on the play. For the moment, Brown is celebrating a turnover, but let's wait for the call.
There was pressure on Liam O'Brien. I'm not sure if it was the pressure that somehow is going to generate the flag here.
Might be an ineligible receiver downfield, as O'Brien was waiting forever for that play to develop.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 72. Penalties decline. Result of the play, 1st down, Brown.
So that's what Brown needed, a takeaway. They get their 7th interception of the season. Good pressure up the middle.
You can see a twist coming up the middle, allowed a free runner to get right in Liam O'Brien's face. That's a tough big guy to blow over, to try to throw over.
Owen Clark is that big guy, number 92.
You know what? You got a helmet to helmet there. But they've snapped the ball.
Yeah, the next play has moved forward, so no targeting, no stop from the move. Matt Childs gets the first carry.
So clearly, Liam O'Brien is a defenseless player in a throwing posture. Interesting. I would assume the booth took a look at it. But a huge turnover for Brown and a momentum changer. They need to put points on the board here.
Murphy throws as a man wide open. Completion to Solomon Miller. And this one will count. 1st down, Brown.
Seems like you and I have been calling Solomon Miller's name for an eternity here. He's been around for a long time. He's been so productive for Brown for so long. He's having a great senior season.
Brown now trying to pick up the pace a little bit. Incomplete pass on 1st down.
Ball coming in a little hot to Matt Childs. You know, we mentioned before that he's their 2nd leading receiver in terms of receptions that he's had. That was a little bit hard to handle, right literally in his face mask. I think James Murphy would like to take a little bit off of that ball next time he throws it.
2nd down and 10. Murphy to Miller. Miller is going to be stopped just shy of the line to gain. Miller, as Jack mentioned, 25 catches last year, 343 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. He had a touchdown against Penn last year. He had a touchdown against Penn 2 years ago. Once again, these two teams have been involved in some memorable shootouts these last few seasons. Big possession here for Brown. They get the turnover. Can they turn it into points? 3rd down and 1. Childs, yes, pushes forward. We talked about how Brown struggled on 3rd down in the first half. They get the conversion here in the 3rd quarter. 1st down, Brown. This is a couple years ago. Brown against Penn. Solomon Miller wearing a different number. 30-26 was the final the last time these two teams met at Franklin Field. Isaiah Reed had the big interception in the end zone with under a minute to go to end that game. Brown had won 34-31 in 2022. The win was for Penn last year in Providence, 38-28. Shootouts between these two teams.
They're the routine. You're seeing right now that one of the things the Penn's defensive coaches said, they need to win the 1st down. You saw right there they did. A stop on 1st down, kicking them into 2nd and 10. They want to put Brown in a position of 3rd and long in this game.
Flag down on the play. Pass is complete, but I think this is coming back. I don't think Trevor Foley, number 84, was set at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Ooh, you are on fire
on
tonight.
Right
calling these.
Calls.
You are making these calls before the officials even know that they're going to throw the flag.
I looked it up at halftime. It feels like temperature is 39 degrees, so I need something. I got to throw a little log on the fire here to make me feel a little warmer. I'm nailing these calls.
You
now.
Got a heater going on right now with these calls. That, by the way, that took away a great reception. We've been talking about Solomon Miller and singing his praises. He made a great catch on that ball. Unfortunately, it's coming back.
Would have gone for 12, but instead it's 2nd down and 15 now for the Bears. Jackson Bennett in the backfield with James Murphy. Murphy time to throw and will throw out of bounds, incomplete, or is it? The officials haven't made a call yet. That looked like that was out of bounds, but they're going to call it a catch.
Murphy had
Rama with the reception.
Murphy had to float that ball to get it over the 2nd level of defenders.
You can see how quickly Brown's going, but not fast enough to beat replay.
The ruling on the field
to take a peek
is under further review.
You can see Murphy has time. Probably would have let go of that ball a little sooner so it wouldn't be drifting to the sideline. Don't know that he was able to keep that toe down when he came in possession.
The right foot, right?
Yeah. He was dragging it, but lifted it when he reached to get possession of the ball. So I'd expect that this one is going to get overturned.
And the review's this quick, I think you know the answer.
Right there. There's the drag. Possession.
It looks like that right foot's off the ground, though. Now, again, the call on the field was completed pass.
Right.
Do you see enough? This should be telling.
This is a good view right here. Toe.
Catch. Looks like the foot's off the ground, Jack.
Yeah. Has to be clear and obvious evidence, all right, for them to overturn what the call was on the field. But you can see what I was talking about before. James
After
Murphy.
review, it is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, they'll look at the film, and James Murphy will realize he should have released that a little bit sooner so he didn't have to throw him so far to the sideline. Good job by the officials, the review officials taking a look at that.
3rd down and 15 coming up for Brown.
They can't afford at this point to end this drive. We talked before about Penn wanted to win 1st down, 2nd down. They have so far.
They need to get to the 29-yard line for a 1st down. They've got a man open, and it's a great grab. Dragged down inside the 10. 1st down for Brown. Levi Lenoz with his 11th catch of the season. Big play for Brown on 3rd and long.
The key, once again, plenty of time to deliver that ball. Lenoz just going right down the seam. That's where you'll get your tight ends and where you'll get them open, running right down the seam. James Murphy delivers a perfect ball.
Murphy goes away. This means direct snap to Jackson Bennett. Penn was ready for it. Second and goal coming up for Brown. Just 1 third down conversion in the first half for Brown. They've had a couple here on this drive, and as a result, they're inside the 10.
That was a huge play to convert on that 3rd and 15.
Foley in motion. Thrown towards the end zone and incomplete. Tons of contact in the end zone. The Brown sideline wondering where the flag is. None thrown. Ezra Farron there on the coverage for Penn.
When you look at that, obviously your first question is, did he make a play on the ball? Didn't look like he got his head turned. Let's look. Good coverage here. He's running the pattern, running the route with him. Right now.
How is that not?
How is that not a pass interference call?
How is that not?
He never turned. The ball hit him in the head.
Brown trying to shake it off. 3rd and goal. Murphy running out of room. Takes a peek at the pylon and is hammered at the 2-yard line. Machin with the hard hit. Murphy with the thumbs up to the sideline. But man, did he take a lick here. Wow.
He's trying to get to that pylon. Just great inside-out pursuit by Machin. Machin's there, delivers. Lista was there.
Oh, hang on a second. Was there a little contact helmet-to-helmet there as well? We saw James Perry, the head coach, making the indication. 4th down and goal. The pitch to the right side, maybe looking for the pass. End zone touchdown. Trick or treat. The trick play comes through and Brown scores. Pearson Hill with the touchdown.
Welcome to Halloween at Franklin Field. You know, they did that pitch and I'm thinking, whoa, this is going to be a really slow developing play to get to the outside. And then you could see the pitch was behind. Take a look. There's the pitch. It's behind. So now he has that ability. Never tuck the ball in. So that's the key right there. He never tucked that in. The defender is just a step behind. Great job delivering that ball and an excellent call by James Perry.
Jai Rahman with the touchdown pass. Pearson Hill on the receiving end. The first touchdown of his career. That's one the sophomore won't forget anytime soon. The trick play is a treat. 21-14. Saturday SEC on ABC. College football, the triple-header. Arch Manning expected to play. Pete Thamel getting the word out that he is not on the injury report, so the Texas quarterback will take on ninth-ranked Vanderbilt, noon Eastern time. Number 5, Georgia and Florida, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And then we'll cap the day, 14th ranked Tennessee hosting 18th ranked Oklahoma in Knoxville. You can also see it on the ESPN app. SEC All Day presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. James Murphy paid the price, but he is still standing after that shot. 2 third down conversions and the 4th down conversion for Brown after the Purdue interception. And we've got a ball game here in Philadelphia.
We talked about it before. Look, there's plenty of time left in this game, but you just had the feeling that Brown needed to deliver some points on that drive. This guy led them down, took a big hit, but delivered for them, and a great call to get that touchdown. So momentum now for the Brown offense. Now the Brown defense has to do something to slow this Penn team down.
On the return is Drayton. Drayton slowed down, not stopped yet. Little stutter step, good move, and Drayton bounces it outside. Drayton down the sideline, driven out of bounds in Brown territory. Juice Stokes, the guy who has been the big play guy all season long in special teams before his injury. And Jaden Drayton showing some juice flashes on this return.
Jaden Drayton channeling his inner Julian Stokes. This one tackle right there. That's maybe a little push in the back, not sure. Beats somebody there, another tackle. I mean, he's just running through 3 or 4 different tackles. So what Penn needed to do to respond to that touchdown by Brown is to put themselves in a position to score some points here. And he did just that to get them started.
Just looking down the sidelines now, Julian Stokes just rolled over in his scooter to give a hug to Drayton. 55-yard kickoff return to put Penn in good position, and it's a gain of about 3 on first down.
You and I talked before about being a little bit surprised that we haven't seen as much pressure coming from the Brown defense in terms of some blitzes, showing some different things. They've been doing that a lot lately. James Perry said this is the best defense he's had in his 7 years at Brown. They've become aggressive going after the offense. Let's see if they change up a little bit the second half and start to put some more pressure on.
Second down and 7. Pup Williams on the carry again. He is hit at the 40-yard line. Good pursuit by Brown. Gain of about a yard, so third down coming up for the Quakers. Remember, Penn was 7 of 8 on third down in the first half.
And part of that was because they had third and manageable a lot of those times. They had good success on their first down, good success on their second down. 3rd and 5, manageable. But Brown, to get back into this now, 21-14, if they can make a stop here and force a punt, that is going to certainly shift the momentum.
Trying to get it on the ground, and they get it. Williams breaks free. Williams leaps and is out of bounds, a yard short of the end zone. First and goal for Penn. How about that? 3rd and long. Penn doesn't go to the air. They go to the ground. They get Brown on their heels, and Pup Williams breaks it for 40.
It looks like they had him pinned. Now, here's what you're seeing about good downfield blocking. You know, coaches say whenever you get long runs, almost always you're going to see some good downfield blocking from your wide receivers. What we didn't see there is it looked like they had him pinned inside, and then great vision. He bounced himself to the outside, and then you saw the speed that allowed him to turn that into such a big producing play.
Well, was it a 40-yard run to the 1, or was it a 41-yard touchdown run? They're going to take a look at it. He adjusted himself, kept the foot in. Did he reach the ball over the pile? Oh, whoa, look at that adjustment as he's heading out. Whoa.
Some impressive,
I don't think the foot was out of bounds.
There. It's tough to see. You can't see the toe. From that angle, can't tell. I mean, you can see he'll try to move the ball from his right hand to his left and try to reach inside the pylon before. That almost looked like the toe was out of bounds on that other view we just got. Can't tell from there. Again, remember, clear and obvious evidence to allow them to say that the call that he was out of bounds was incorrect.
After review, the runner went out of bounds at the half-yard line. It will be Penn's ball, 1st and goal.
It's tough to tell from those angles, just looking straight down. So it's the longest run from scrimmage for Penn this season, and Williams putting up some good numbers. He came into the game 30 carries, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He has a touchdown tonight. Dante West in the backfield with O'Brien. 1st and goal for the Quakers. Stopped at the goal line. The push was there, though. Touchdown, Penn. Now, they've started the light show to celebrate here, but the officials.
I don't know that I haven't seen any hands up in the air.
Yeah, I saw on the far side, Jack, arms go up, and then the officials looked like they were going to get together and have a chat, but it's going to stand.
I think the officials were just enjoying the disco atmosphere here with the lights.
I know you enjoyed so much.
A little John Travolta going on. Look, this is just power football. Big boy football, one-on-one. 51 fills the hole. But just some power running by Dante West just to get himself enough to get him over the line.
Extra point from Walters was good, so Penn responds with the touchdown. sparked by the big kick return by Drayton. Penn goes the rest of the way, and it's 28-14 Quakers in the third.
Right, fans, time for the David Otto extra point kick. Our contestant Bo Holmes is on the field. Make it. Walk away with
Oh, class is back in session.
Oh, all right.
Professor
Franklin
Ford.
Field, some more first. College football's first radio broadcast in 22. Also the first double-decker stadium. You can see that second level. It was the first televised game in 1940. So many firsts coming out of Franklin Field. It's just a fantastic venue. There was the 1936 Democratic National Convention here. FDR accepted the nomination. The Eagles used to play here about 13 years, and they won the NFL championship in 1960 right here in Franklin Field when they beat the Packers. So you could do an entire seminar course on the history of Franklin Field.
I think you just did.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Penn booted away, back up by 2 scores. Into the breeze. Chance here for Ramondu trying to return it, but he is swallowed up at the 20-yard line. So the last time he was on the field, he threw a touchdown pass on 4th and goal. That capped that Brown drive.
And this was an impressive drive. We talked about they needed to do it. They converted a 3rd and 15 on that play. Got themselves what you and I think probably should have been a pass interference call there. Here we see James Murphy. You know what? He doesn't usually do this, but he put his hat down, ran into some guys, got them down, and then the trick play. The pitch back, and it sucked up all the defenders, delivered the touchdown pass to get him back into it. Now, Penn then just took the momentum back by driving the length of the field. We need to see, if you're a Brown fan, you need to see them do something. Take a look at that number, the comparison rushing yards. Penn, 6.2. They found a ground game today that they haven't had since they lost Julian Stokes. They did not have it last week against Yale. They have discovered a ground game now. A number of rushers delivering, taking the pressure off of Liam O'Brien. Brown still looking for that ground game to balance off of their offense.
And that was a point of emphasis for Brown. I know they fell behind in this game. They had just 32 yards against Cornell on the ground last week. They have just 28 on the ground here tonight, back down by 2 touchdowns. Got a bit of a delay here. The officials have been in communication, and now communication continuing to the sidelines.
You talk about the absence of the ground game. I think James Murphy is really good. The receivers are really good, but if you're so one-dimensional.
After review, number 85 of the receiving team gave an invalid signal. Another player on the receiving team caught the free kick at the 11-yard line. It'll be Brown's ball, 1st and 10 on the 11-yard line.
All right, so that goes back to the return and away from.
So I'm wondering if one of the other guys
returner
gave a signal, gave a fair catch signal, so it moves them back to the spot of the signal. So the spot of the catch.
Yeah, that ball is tipped. Incomplete.
So what does Brown need to do here? They need to move the chains. They don't want to be in a position where they're going to give the ball back to Penn. Penn has had all the offensive momentum so far. They don't want to have to give the ball right back to them now, looking for that ground game, trying to generate something here to make it a more manageable 3rd down for this Brown offense. We said before, last thing they want to do is punt from way back here, give Penn possession of the ball about midfield, because Penn has been fairly unstoppable so far this game on offense.
3rd down and 7. Thrown outside to Pezza. Pezza is hit at the 23. That should be enough to move the chains.
That's a fabulous second effort by Ty Pezza. He took 4 or 5 Penn defenders. Well, you can see, talk about big receivers here. These guys are the size of what tight ends used to be, but they're so talented and can run so well that they move them out, and they become a matchup nightmare for defenses.
Ty 6'4", 225. Good effort to convert on 3rd down again, and now Pezza on the out has another reception. Ty continues to rack up catches. The leading receiver for Brown this season had 9 catches, 172 yards against Cornell last week. That was the most for a Brown receiver in 10 years. A couple of touchdowns in that game, including in overtime. Childs upended at the 34.
Moving the chains yet again. We talked at the beginning of this drive, right? You and I said they need to move the chains. They need to generate some first downs. They could not give the ball right back to Penn with the momentum that Penn has. We're looking there at Brown coach Dan Mulrooney, who is their new, we're looking at the Penn coach right now. Bob Benson, who's been here a long time. And has to be liking what his defense has been doing so far.
Childs with a nifty one-hand grab. It's only going to go into the books as a gain of 2. He's had a couple of good one-hand catches. Looks like maybe he's a little bit banged up at the end of that play.
Oh, that's an impressive grab. That's what you'd expect to see from 17 or 7 on the other team. Trying to see where he got dinged up a little bit. Looks like they're looking at his hand.
It's still on the sideline. Hasn't.
He was one. Coach told us he was one of their top recruits since James Perry has been here.
Murphy throws, look out for contact. There it is. And a flag is thrown on the play. Andrew Bruce for Penn with the hit.
Looked like also clearly taunting afterwards. I'm not sure. It looked like the flag might have been before the taunting. And it's a point of emphasis for officials this year, that taunting after a play. Let's see if there's helmet contact here.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 21. The previous play is under further review.
At first look, I would say it looks more like taunting than targeting, but it was a flag right away for the contact right here.
He lowers his head. At that point, probably a defenseless player just made the catch. So you look at helmet-to-helmet contact. I'm really surprised that they did not get a taunting flag. That's something, and they could have gotten both. That's something that hurt Penn last week against Yale. There was a lot of chippiness, a lot of talking going on. There were some late hit flags. Have to see what the officials do with this one. But you would not get a taunting call from the booth. That's something that they cannot call on their own.
No.
Here. They can, we know, as we know, they can do a targeting on their own. But here the flag was already thrown for the targeting. So that's what they're reviewing. So let's see what they have to say here. It would be a big momentum sustainer for Brown if you can keep it going, add that 15 yards to the end of that play.
I just think with the looks we've seen so far, is there enough information and proper angles to see if that was targeting? And it's so tough from everything that we've seen so far just to...
Let's take another look at it here. Catch down.
I mean, one of the officials is partially screening. So much of it is just the taunt after that your eyes are drawn to as well. But
and again, I'm just fairly surprised that there was not a flag for the taunting afterwards.
It's taking a little while too, and you know the thing that here's the call.
After review, there is no targeting on the play. It's 3rd down.
Penn sideline seemed pretty confident that that was not going to be upheld, just the way they were kind of acting, and just, I mean, part of it too is just keeping Bruce engaged after getting called for it. But take it off the board, no targeting. Bruce can stay in the game. Third down's been good to Brown here in the second half so far. 3 for 4 on third down after going 1 for 5 on third down in the first half. Murphy throws, and that one's going to be short hop and incomplete. And a flag is down on the play, and this is likely going to be roughing the passer because Murphy is being helped up.
We're getting a sense just how tough a kid James Murphy is here. We saw the hit on the run down to the goal line before. Looks like another hit.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Defense, number 99. The previous play is under further review.
So back to the booth because targeting is involved. Roughing the passer will stand no matter what. The question is, will this be targeting and an ejection for the Penn player?
From that,
I think it's Liam Forster who gets there, right?
From that shot, it looked like he gets him sort of in the chest.
Yeah, this...
Right? Are we seeing it?
I mean, it's roughing the passer. That won't change.
Right. So that penalty will stand.
The thing I think you're saying is targeting will be removed. So that means Forster, and it is number 99, will stay in the game. But it's still a 15-yard penalty, and it'll be a first down for Brown. Question is whether or not Forster is ejected from the game for the targeting, and that looked to me like it was just a football play.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought there was more evidence for the previous play for a target, even though I was uncertain about that. You and I were kind of uncertain about that. More evidence for it.
There's a different angle.
We're seeing here.
After review, there is no targeting on the play. The 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer will be 15 yards from the previous spot. First down, Brown.
Okay, keeping the drive going for Brown now. You know, they will take however you want to give them the yards. They don't want to give this ball back to this sort of supercharged Penn offense that we've seen so far. So they've gotten themselves to midfield now. A couple penalties keeping it going. Brown needs to put some points on the board in this drive.
They go for the reverse. It's Solomon Miller who comes around and will pick up. It looks to be enough for a first down. Let's see on the spot. Maybe a half-yard short. So second down and 1 coming up. Brown has thrown a couple of trick plays at you tonight. This on the ground.
We talked about Solomon Miller's speed before. One of the record holders or third. Solomon Miller, that speed we talked about here, and he showed some of it, flashed that speed here. He's third in the Brown record books for the indoor 60-meter dash.
Murphy throws outside to Miller. Miller, flag is thrown on the play. Foley was trying to set a block on the edge, and he's got tangled up there a little bit. This will go against the Bears.
Again, I want to see what kind of impact that was.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Take a look at it from here. The quick out to Miller. You know, you can get your hands on somebody on their back, and it's not a, it has to be this type of contact that's delivered. So again, sort of an interesting call. Looked almost like a basketball screen or pick more than anything else.
So it's first down at 17. Murphy floats it up, and guess who he goes to? The guy who just got called for the penalty. Foley has a first down reception.
It's a pretty good make-good play for Foley, right? They got called for the block on the back, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a great job running my route, get myself open. Excellent throw by Murphy, and they convert another first down, keeping this drive alive, getting them now into the red zone.
Foley, a guy who's been coming on for Brown and 4 catches for 62 yards against Cornell. Had just 1 appearance last year for Brown. That was in the finale against Dartmouth. Murphy throws, and it's through the hands of Pezza. Pezza was open a little earlier than that and just was waiting there for an eternity, I would think, for that pass to come his way.
You know, pressure forced him to step up. Here's what happens. It's a little bit high ball, tough catch. Would have been a great catch by Pezza.
Miller gets it at the 17-yard line and is thrown backwards by Andrew Bruce.
Going back to that last play, Eric, it's not unusual when quarterbacks are forced to move forward and they're delivering the pass as they're moving forward for it to just fly a little bit high. It's the momentum, the physics of it that makes the pass travel a little bit high and wide, and that's what I think what we saw on that play.
Andrew Bruce, a sophomore, has been a popular guy on that Penn sideline. Well, they've been preparing the toast here at Penn. It's the end of the third quarter. You know what that means. You don't see this handed out on Halloween very often. Penn tradition coming up. The time-honored tradition here at Penn. After the third quarter, time to drink a highball. Here's a toast to dear old Penn, Jack. You're our history professor.
That's right. It came from one of the Penn songs. Ooh, good hands by number 30. Doing a
That's
frisbee
the punter.
toss to get back. Yeah.
Punter's got some
this
hands.
tradition,
Santiago
as you said,
Sterla.
for decades. Here's a toast to dear old Penn. Everybody throws the toast out. There was a time not that long ago when there were so many people here and it was so many toasts that they used the ice rink Zamboni to come in and clear the field and the track to get rid of the toast.
The
Not
toast,
as many now, but it's still pretty cool tradition.
it's still raining toast, which I'm happy to say still happens here at Penn because tortilla throwing has been banned at Texas Tech. So the carbs are still in the air here in the Ivy League, we're happy to say. First play of the fourth quarter, Murphy to Miller, down to the 15-yard line. So it's going to be 4th down and 10. We've got the toast rate going on. It is autumn.
You know, it's
so
not
the
quite
rake
as
is ready.
dramatic or kind of as sexy as the Zamboni. Leaf rake does the job. Decision here.
Crabtree's
Berry.
got it.
Yeah,
Did
says,
you
let's get
just
3
use
points.
the phrase as sexy as the Zamboni?
I did. Not sure what that means.
Here's something new every day. 32-yard field goal attempt, and it is going to miss the mark. Breeze is just kind of blowing in and from the left a little bit. It's just been really tough heading into that end of the field to get anything reliable, and Crabtree misses the field goal attempt. And Penn will bring the offense onto the field.
You know, the right call, I think, by Coach Perry. Let's get the 3 points here. Turned it into an 11-point game. Just gets enough hook on it. Bend it a little bit right and left there. But I understand the call. I think it makes sense. You know, come away. You've got 17 points. You've got an entire fourth quarter to go. You'd be 11 points down. It hurts to put together a drive like that, not get any points, and then turn the ball over to this Penn offense, which we said has really emerged in this game tonight as a true balanced offense, led by this guy, number 2, Liam O'Brien.
O'Brien will just slide down at the 20-yard line.
Good decision. I'm sure the coaches have said to him, Liam, get what you can, man, and get down. You mentioned this before, Eric, he took a beating last week against Yale when he was literally their only running threat throughout the course of that game. So a smart move by him to try and save some of those hits.
These two teams combined for over 700 yards in total offense. Nothing on that carry for O'Brien. Handoff. We'll get about 5 for Tommy Lafayette.
Tell you, there's still a lot of games left to be played, but if you're taking a look at sort of various award winners here, I think Liam O'Brien has certainly got to be in the conversation for the offensive Ivy League MVP so far with everything he's been able to do to carry this Penn offense.
Third down and 5. O'Brien gets away from the pass rush and will pick up the first down. Well, there's a lot of candidates. Josh Pitzenberger's been piling up the yards on the ground for Yale. Jaden Craig's been so impressive. Quarterback for undefeated Harvard. We talked about Jared Richardson and BC Owens.
And BC Owens both have to be in the conversation.
What stands out about O'Brien's game to you to put him in that conversation?
To me, you look at, if that guy's not on this team, would the team be producing as well and performing as well? We've got time for the thought. We'll finish the thought after this play. All right.
First down and 10. Nothing happening on that carry by Lafayette.
So it's always the debate. What does the offensive player of the year mean? Does it mean you are the most talented offensive player? Does it mean you are the most valuable player in terms of what you did for your team? I tend to think it's a little bit more that second part. All the guys you mentioned, I think, could easily, so far, walk away with that, and you'd say, absolute, right, great choice. But as I said, I think he's in the conversation.
I think what's going to be great in these final weeks of the season in the Ivy League is that there's going to be so much on the line, and we see that and we talk about it every week. It is literally going to go down to the last snap of the season to determine the champion or champions in the Ivy League. So there's these performances that are going to jump out at us from those players we mentioned and some others who we haven't mentioned that are going to make the difference for a champion here in these final weeks.
There are going to be some great stages for a lot of these players to make some statements leading down to that last game that you and I will do, Harvard and Yale.
Third down and 9. O'Brien to pass. O'Brien out of trouble and throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Lafayette, went through his hands, and Penn will have to punt.
Here's the thing about Liam O'Brien. He just always looks so calm. Whether he's in the pocket, getting pressure, he takes it off up the middle. Look, and see here, pressure comes, gets to the outside, eyes always upfield. That's always a tough throw across your body for a right-hander to come across to the left side. Just a little bit high on that delivery.
So we saw Santiago Sturla showing off his hands, catching the toast being thrown from the stands. For the first time tonight, we're going to see what he can do with his feet. This is the first punt for Penn tonight.
Amazing. We're at 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, the first time Penn has had to punt.
And a flag is thrown. It's going to be a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
You've been on the sidelines all night waiting for your chance to punt, and the punt team gets called for a delay of game. Sturla's like, we had one job.
You got one job. But they're probably looking and saying, no, you guys have not needed us for 3 quarters. Why do you need us now? We're good. We're comfortable on the sideline.
So Sturla to boot it away. And a flag is thrown on the play. Fair catch called for by Rahman at the 20, but let's check on the flag. You mentioned the Ivy Offensive Player of the Year award. Last year went to a Penn Quaker.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the back. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
Malachi Hosley, the 2024 Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year. 1,192 yards rushing. He is now the #1 running back for 8-0 Georgia Tech, averaging just under 8 yards a carry for the undefeated Yellow Jackets.
So you're seeing, now this is from somebody who's an Ivy League partisan, but you're seeing that some other teams around the country are grabbing up Ivy League players, either who used up their eligibility or like Hosley just decided to go someplace else to play, and they're delivering, showing the quality of the players here in the Ivy League.
Sturla, low line drive. This is going to get a lot of roll on the ground across the 35 and then spins out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
One of the finalists for that offensive award was Cooper Barkate from Harvard last year. He graduated from Harvard in 3 years, and now he's down at Duke, and he's their leading receiver down there.
Great year, both of them in the ACC. Timeout here in the fourth in Philly. to November, and that's when the Ivy League championship will be decided. And as we've seen the last 2 years, it's been decided on the last day of the season. 2023 Dartmouth, Harvard, Yale, all 5-2 Ivy League champions. And last year, Harvard had won it in Week 9. Yale defeated Harvard in Week 10. That opened the door for Dartmouth and for Columbia with wins in Week 10 to join Harvard as Ivy League champions. So I just want to point out, just take a look at the conference records. Harvard is playing Dartmouth tomorrow. So say Dartmouth beats Harvard. Harvard beat 3-1. Dartmouth would be 3-1. If Penn wins tonight, they'd be 3-1. If Yale wins tomorrow against Columbia, they would be 3-1. And if Princeton beats Cornell, they would be 3-1.
We could quite literally come in, as we did before, last week with 4 or 5 teams having a shot at it here. You see what Harvard's got left. Right, that big game against Dartmouth tomorrow, then they've got Columbia. This Penn team, which is looking really good tonight. And then at Yale, at the Yale Bowl for the what's it called again?
Game.
What's it called?
The.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Got to get the inflection in all caps on
game.
the. First and 10 for Murphy and Brown. Down 2 touchdowns, and Murphy looking right side and incomplete on the first down pass play.
Excellent coverage by Penn on that delivery. You know, go back to the 6 times in the nearly 3/4 of a century history of the Ivy League have you had 3 teams sharing the title. 2 of those happened in the last 2 years. You know, and I think once again it points to the quality parity that the Ivy League has developed, that you have so many good teams here that are in contention down to the last week.
Childs is brought down.
Guess who?
John Lista.
John Lista. I'm going to use I think I said this once before in the air, but I'm going back to the late, great Bear Bryant, talking about the late, great Leroy Jordan, then went on to be an all-pro player for the Dallas Cowboys, and his expression was talking about how good Leroy Jordan is. He said, if they stay between the lines, Leroy's going to get them. And I think you can say the same thing about number 44 there. If they stay between the lines, John Lista's going to get it.
Defensive coordinator Bob Benson says, I think he's the best linebacker in the Ivy League. He might be the best in FCS football. He's the #1 impact player on defense. Murphy throws on the run and off target. Narcisse, who had the interception to get things going for the Penn defense, there in coverage. And it's going to be 3 and out for the Bears.
It's a tough 3 and out for Brown. Same thing we said before the last drive. They did it. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come up with the 3 points at the end. But in the last drive, they moved the chains. They kept it out of the hands of the Penn offense. This time, 3 and out.
Flynn the punt into the breeze. Drayton's had a good kick return. Can he do anything here? He'll have a chance from the 26. Brown ready for him, bring him down at the 31-yard line. Penn will bring the offense back on the field, try to pick up a few first downs and get closer to their 5th win of the season. Well, I dress like Jack Ford for Halloween. Our camera crew, we've got a Shrek.
Shrek, we've got a...
Oh, yes, from the Flyers. Gritty?
Oh,
Gritty? Come on, my Philly people, help me out here. Don't know. I have a feeling, though. What,
pretty frightening. Pretty frightening.
Yep. All right, we've got our crew checking out. I wondered why things were out of focus a little bit tonight because it's hard to see through some of those masks.
Look at that one.
Sinister. He's actually not on our crew.
That
he
is
just knocked
that's
our
actually
cameraman
really a
off just to
scary
have his
laugh.
moment.
That's a scary laugh coming out.
Who
of
did the
that
lighting for that shot? That's just outstanding. You know what, though?
Colors.
That looks warm. I almost wish I brought a mask here today because, you know, the wind chill's got us in the 30s right now. He's up there with all his friends.
Oh, my
right
goodness.
now, yeah.
That costume scared away just about anybody who's going to be up in that way.
It's like that camera person lost a bet and got shoved up there. First down at 10 for Penn, up by 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. to the 35. That's Connor Johns. I think that's Connor Johns' first career reception. Sophomore getting his name called here tonight. One turnover for each team. Penn trying to run some clock, take care of the football, and put away Ivy win number 3. They'll throw the football. This was dangerous. Johns has another catch. But there at the same time was Cameron Williams-Dalton to make the stick.
Just timed that perfectly. It's impressive to hold on to that ball with the hit that was delivered. Now what Brown is hoping is that they're kind of reversing this. Penn hasn't found themselves in 3rd and long a lot tonight. What Brown's hoping is, looks like they're showing some pressure. They back it off here.
O'Brien tells his receiver to go deep, now throws and incomplete. Ronan Johansson, the intended receiver. Williams-Dalton on the coverage, and Penn doesn't chew up a lot of clock. 3 and out, they'll have to punt.
Interesting. Not connecting, just a little bit behind him. He's looking, he thought his receiver had a step, and he did. Wasn't able to get the ball out in front of him. Big stop here by this Brown defense.
And with Owens and Richardson on the field, not getting targeted. Penn will boot it deep. Fair catch called for and put away by Rahman, and we'll take a timeout. Can Brown do something midway through the 4th? Find out when we come back. They're down 14 in Philly. First scoring in the second half was trick play touchdown on 4th down that brought Brown within a touchdown at 21-14. Touchdown run for Penn by Dante West put the Quakers back on top 28-14. That touchdown was scored with 4:56 to go in the 3rd quarter. We haven't had any scoring since then, and Brown's bringing the offense back on the field.
Yeah. And you know what? The Browns defense did their job in that last series. Comeback hits here. This is an interesting statistic. In 6 of the last 10 games, Brown, in their wins, Brown has generated a 4th quarter comeback. So let's see if number 15, James Murphy and the Brown offense can make that, add to that number here for 4th quarter comebacks. I think what you're seeing, you can look at that right now, that shot on the screen. Look how deep the 2 safeties are playing. The second level linebackers are off about 5 yards off. The corners are giving a big cushion. So they're going to be a bend, don't break defense, I think, for the next 8 minutes here, trying to keep everything in front of them in terms of the Brown passing game.
Pressure coming. Murphy gets hit again and overthrows his intended receiver, Jackson Bennett.
And that overthrow was directly the result of the pressure that came in off of the right side of the offense here, just getting in the face. You can see it right here. He's basically got a free runner coming at him. John Lista once again.
2nd and 10. Murphy goes down. Carter Janke has the sack.
Carter Janke's become the anchor of that defensive line. You saw quick move, forcing him up the middle. Carter Janke did not give up on the play, and on second effort was able to bring James Murphy down.
1.5 sacks tonight, 3.5 on the season for the senior from Reading, Connecticut. Murphy throws one up. What an amazing one-hand grab for the first down by Trevor Foley. Wow, Foley! What a catch!
Trevor Foley becoming a star on a national stage. Look at that one.
Oh, O.B. Jamie.
Oh, Odell Beckham Jr.
Leno's with the catch.
Take another look at that. Stretching out, tucking that ball in. You know, it's interesting because nowadays you see wide receivers in warm-ups practicing their one-handed catches. And it comes into play just like that, keeping this drive alive for Brown.
2nd and 7. Murphy throws, and that's going to be pass interference. Pass intended for Leno's, and it looked like the defensive back had his hand pulling back on the shoulder pads. It's Bruce back there in coverage.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So Brown keeping this drive alive first with a spectacular catch. And here with pass interference, he had that right hand. Now remember, you can have the other hand on the player so long as you don't turn them or somehow impact their ability to catch. And you can see right there, the hand is locked around the right arm, clearly interfered with his ability to make that catch. Bruce didn't even really protest it.
Murphy throws it up. Michael Nesbitt brings it in. Olston there on the coverage. Nine different receivers for Murphy tonight. This is going to be a first down for Brown inside the 30-yard line. We showed you the comebacks that the Bears have made. They've got some momentum building here with plenty of time to go. 6 minutes to go in the fourth.
That quick wide receiver screen works when you get blocking from those other wide receivers. They got it on that play, turned it into a good 1st and 10.
Jai Rahman with the catch, 14 yards. First down, Miller in motion. Murphy trying to get away from Janke, cannot. Went down as Alexandro Armour Jr. came in to make sure that he stayed down.
You can see a twist coming off of that right side, driving him, Murphy, off to the left. When he moves to his left, there is nowhere for him to go. Just tuck it and go down.
Murphy throws it to his tight end, Leno's. Back to the original line of scrimmage and a little bit more to the 25, making the 24-yard line.
Several catches for Leno's tonight. They're getting some production. Coaches told us they needed to get some production from their tight ends, and that's definitely what they're getting tonight from those tight ends.
Tight ends had 0 receptions at Cornell last week, to Jack's point. Good pressure from Brown. They look for the screen. They've got it up the middle. For the 15 down to the 13-yard line goes Jackson Bennett. And it's a first down for Brown.
Perfect call at that time. You can see the pressures coming from the front line. Bennett just slides out. You get a little shot put toss to him by James Murphy.
Murphy across the middle, looking for Foley. He's hit, spins to the goal line and is in. Touchdown, Brown. Trevor Foley had one of the best catches you'll ever see on the drive, and he finishes the drive with a catch and a good effort to get to the end zone for the touchdown. And here comes Crabtree to try to make it a 7-point game.
You can see they fake all the movement to the left, gets the defense moving that way. Foley's able to sneak across into the right corner. Good effort to get into the end zone.
Point after is good. It's 28-21. First, the amazing one-handed grab brought in by the sophomore from Mansfield, Mass. Trevor Foley then kept it up with the touchdown, and we've got a ball game in Philly on a Friday night. If you thought Jack Ford was done with his Franklin Field history lesson, you get detention.
Yes. There is more. It was the inaugural episode that we saw just a few moments ago, and we also saw that Franklin Field had one of the first stadiums to have turf on it, AstroTurf. I played on it. It was awful.
How did it feel?
It was awful. We described it as concrete with a throw rug on top of it. We had more guys get hurt. Penn had more guys get hurt. This field that they have now is spectacular. But you know, they use this for so many activities here that they need that artificial surface, and they've needed it before. But again, just this venerable old stadium, just a wonderful historic venue, and certainly the University of Pennsylvania has reason to be very proud of it.
The lead belongs to Penn, but the momentum right now belongs to Brown, as it will roll into the end zone for a touchback. I've been told we have more facts.
Oh, we have more facts. What? I could keep you here for another 3 hours. There is a lot more going on here at Franklin Field. Let's take a look. We talked about the oldest NCAA football stadium in the nation, 1895. How many? 877 Penn football games. The first stadium scoreboard. We talked about the Eagles. This also was the place where decades, one of the biggest games in the country. It was the Thanksgiving Day game between Penn and Cornell. They'd put 70,000 people regularly in the stadium for that game. Still a big game. Unfortunately, not Thanksgiving anymore. It doesn't draw that same kind of crowd, but it has its history.
Penn finds Richardson. That's just his second reception of the second half. It feels like that Penn offense was, they were playing with their food a little bit, and you got to go to your playmakers.
Yeah, you came up with this. We were talking about it before. We said these two guys, that's the second reception by these two guys. BC Owens doesn't have any in the second half. And you're saying, wait a minute, these guys are the ones, that dance with the one who brung you kind of thing? These are the guys that have gotten you here. Let's try and get the ball in their hands if you're Penn.
If you're Penn, you have a chance to put it away. Need a couple first downs, and it's over. They've run the ball very well tonight. That's Dante West who's going to pick up a couple.
We talked about running the ball well. Here's a really telling statistic, right? Coming into this, Penn had been averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Today they're averaging 5.8. And it's been that ground game. Now, obviously, you've seen some great passing, great receiving, but that ground game has really given this Penn offense the balance that has been missing for the last couple of weeks. And that guy, 26, has been one of the most responsible for it.
Second down and 8. O'Brien's got it, throws it to his tight end, Caden Olson, and Olson has another first down for Penn. Couple more first downs in its ball game, Jack.
Yeah, Caden Olson, another interesting story. We talked about all the injuries that Penn's had. They've had to move guys around. He came in as a quarterback recruit, and they've got really high on him. You can see they just kind of swing him out to the flat there. That's such an effective route for tight ends to run. He came in as a quarterback recruit, and the coaches said to him, hey, you want to try and get on the field? You want to try and play tight end? It's interesting. He said, yeah, I didn't catch the ball. He said, but I've never blocked before. But he was a great high school basketball player, 1,000-point scorer, and the coaches said to him, okay, you're just going to set screens, set picks. You don't have to knock them on the ground. Just get in his way.
I think Penn may use a timeout here. Aaron Cruz, one of their offensive linemen, came off the field, and Trenton Van Boning has come on to replace him. And Ray Priori, just to make sure everything's set here with 2:07 to go in the fourth quarter, is going to take a timeout and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Makes sense to do the timeout under the circumstances, but I'm sure he kind of wishes he didn't have to. Let it get to the 2-minute timeout.
Play clock was set to expire, so run a play here on 1st and 10, then you get down to the 2-minute timeout. Mentioned Josh Pitzenberger, another big week for the running back, leading rusher in the Ivy League last week. Ran big against the Quakers. We were impressed by what we saw from the Dartmouth Big Green last Friday night up at Buddy Stevens Stadium in their 49-3 win over Columbia. McCoy Maddox had that special teams play, the block punt that he took in for a touchdown, as Dartmouth had the hat trick, a defensive touchdown, an offensive touchdown, and a special teams touchdown out of the blocks in that victory. Back to the grounds. Good gain for Pup Williams. Taking a while for him to go down, and you know what that's going to do? It's going to bring it down to the 2-minute timeouts. We'll take a timeout as well and be back to Franklin Field. Penn trying to put the Raps on a win over Brown. Next UFC Fight Night is tomorrow. Exclusively on ESPN Plus. The prelims start at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific from Apex in Vegas, followed by the main card at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, highlighted by the featherweight main event. Watch on the all-new ESPN app. Halloween nights at Franklin Field wrapping up. 7-point game. Liam O'Brien back on the field out of the 2-minute timeout, facing a second down, trying to keep things moving here on 2nd and 4. Brown with all 3 timeouts remaining, down 1 score. Richardson heads in motion. From the 41-yard line, 2nd down and 4. Back to the ground. Big hole up the middle and another first down for Penn. Quakers needed to pick up probably 3 first downs or so on this drive to put it away. Mission accomplished. Brown's going to take a timeout here to try to stretch things out a little bit, but Penn has been able, after spinning their wheels a little bit on offense, to come out and take control here on what they hope will be their final drive.
I think the headline for this, a lot of positive things for Penn, obviously. Headline to me, I think, is the running game. They have a running game tonight. They had no running game. Last week against Yale, their running game was essentially number 2. Liam O'Brien just kind of running for his life. So coming into this, the Penn coaches wanted to get something, and I think they've got to be thrilled with the running game that they have been able to develop so far tonight.
Penn with 202 yards on the ground. That is a season high for the Quakers. They came in averaging 122 yards a game on the ground. They had 108 against Yale last week.
Look at those numbers. We talked about this being a shootout in the open. Total yards are over 800 now between these two teams.
Williams. Well, that helps Brown. You drive him out of bounds, you don't have to burn a timeout. Purdue made sure he got out of bounds.
One of the things you would have thought that, and I suspect coaches did say, the guys, let's not go out of bounds. If you get close, drop down. You don't want to stop that clock and save a timeout for them. You know, right now, yes, you want to get first downs, absolutely. You want to be able to run this game out. You also have to still be cognizant of the notion of getting yourself down before you get out of bounds.
2nd down and 5. Back to the ground with Williams. Williams trying to use the Richardson block, and that will get another first down for Penn. Brown will take a timeout, but that's going to be a key first down as they move the chains with 1:42 to go here in the 4th quarter.
Once again, finding the seam, gets a block from Richardson. Really helps him the first time and then follows through. Second effort by Richardson on the block to spring him. It probably just as well that they got the first down right then, because it's now kicks it in so that they can use their timeouts if they had 2nd or 3rd. Take a look at what's going to go on tomorrow in the Ivy League. Columbia at the elbow, visiting Yale. Princeton and Cornell. Princeton still alive, as is Yale. Each of them with 1 loss in the Ivies. The game, if I can use that expression.
You cannot.
Only once. Only use it once, but it doesn't apply to Yale versus Harvard. The game tomorrow is Dartmouth at Harvard. These games have been great for the last 10 years. I expect tomorrow will be exactly the same.
Harvard has won the last 3 in the series. Last year they trailed Dartmouth 20-10. They scored 14 points in the final 6 minutes. Hard yard to the 18-yard line, and Brown will use a final timeout. Reminder on the standings: 1 undefeated team, 4 teams with 2-1 records. You see the overall records in the right column. It's the Ivy League records that are most important, and we keep stressing teams will always, first and foremost, want to be Ivy League champion. But for this year's Ivy League champion, for the first time ever, it's a trip to the FCS playoffs.
There is something more. There's another prize out there for them that they haven't had a chance. And you and I talked about this, but there have been some Ivy League teams, a couple of Harvard teams, a couple of Princeton teams, a couple of Yale teams that could have made a deep run into that national championship, those playoffs. This year, at least one Ivy team is going to get that opportunity. So it's a big deal. You want to win the Ivy championship, but boy, do you also want to get a chance to get into those national championship playoffs.
So Brown's out of timeout, 2nd down and 9. Williams turns it up. Good tackle made by Elias Archie, but Brown cannot stop the clock. So this will bring it inside of a minute, down to about 50 seconds when they have to snap it.
Elias Archie, another one of those guys whose name we've been calling for a lot of years up at Brown. He's been an outstanding player for them. Another one of their speed guys. He's a record holder, 100 meters and the 60 meters indoors. So he's been a leader and a productive player for this Brown defense for a lot of years.
Looks like Priori is going to let the play clock wind down to a second and then call a timeout, which is what he does. That stops the clock with 48, which turned to 47 seconds to go. They put a second on the clock. Now they're going to put 2 seconds on the clock. So 49 seconds on the game clock. 3rd down play coming up for the Quakers. Next up for Penn, they will host Cornell. Then they'll be at Harvard. Last year, the Penn Crimson matchup. Penn led 21-7, but they lost 31-28 on a field goal as time expired. 2023, double overtime showdown between Penn and Harvard. So you've got Cornell first, but that Penn-Harvard matchup has always been something. Of course, closing it out with the traditional rivalry game with Princeton.
And I think this Penn team has found itself. I think they are going to be dangerous for the balance of this season here. This is not the team that lost to Yale last week, and not to diminish the effort. Yale looked really good against them. This looks like a completely different team to me. They are going to be dangerous for the remainder of this season.
3rd down and 7. O'Brien will keep it himself, and O'Brien will cut to the end zone and get stopped just shy of the goal line. But that will do it for the ball game, even though O'Brien doesn't make it into the end zone. Brown out of timeouts. It's a 1st and goal for Penn. Victory formation for the Quakers here at Franklin Field.
This is what Liam O'Brien has done all year long for this team. He didn't have to run it as much today as he has in the past, but when he did, it was always productive. And here showing some respect for Brown, just taking a snap, dropping the knee, not trying to get in the end zone one more time.
That will do it. Give John Purdue credit. He was fighting right to the very end. He kept O'Brien out of the end zone. The Penn Quakers get a 28-21 win over a pesky Brown team. Penn very much in the Ivy League title hunt now with a 3-1 record, and they have control. They still have a game against Harvard. They have knocked off Dartmouth, a team that's in the mix right now. They still play Princeton at the end of the season. So there is a lot on the line.
Coach
and they won on a Friday night. Maybe Ray Priori
exactly, changing that out. Coach Priori told us, he said to the team, hey, here's the deal. It's all in your hands. You control your destiny here. You're going to get a shot at Harvard. You win these games, you win the rest of your games, then you may well be walking away with the title. The 2 quarterbacks showing a sign of respect for each of them. Liam O'Brien, I mentioned, I think that he has put himself firmly in the conversation for the Offensive Player of the Year in the Ivy League. He's got 2 wide receivers who are also in that conversation. You mentioned some of the other guys, Jaden Craig in Harvard. One of the traditions here for the team, facing their home stands, and the playing of the Penn Anthem.
sounds a lot better, and the smiles are on the faces after a victory, and that's what's happened for Penn here tonight. Quakers are now 5-2 overall, and most importantly, 3-1 in Ivy League play as they pick up a 28-21 victory. Liam O'Brien, 18 of 27, 222 yards and a touchdown. Penn racked up 453 yards in total offense, and very impressive on the ground, Jack. They had more rushing yards than passing yards tonight.
When would you have ever expected this Penn team to do that? Again, looking at those yardages, it makes us kind of look prescient at the beginning of our open here when we talked about footballs filling the air, also needing some balance to the offense. And we said there's probably going to be a lot of yards generated here. And I think what you said, we're over 800 now between these two teams.
John Lista in the middle. Number 44 with the big smile.
As he always is in the middle on that defense.
He is in the middle on defense, and he's in the middle in the huddle to break things down as Penn picks up the 28-21 victory right now. And Ray Priori's got the headset on. Ray, you hear us okay?
I hear you fine.
Ray, Jack and I were just talking about it. The message to the team this week, it's in your hands, this chase for a championship. It sounds like the guys were listening to you this week. What can you say about their performance and bouncing back after Yale?
Honestly, real proud of them. You know, I asked the guys to do one thing only, which he had not done the whole entire year, is staying focused. Okay, staying focused for 16 minutes, and that's what we did tonight, executing all different ways. Different guys stepped up. We're banged up. We're injured. We're crawling around out here, and guys they're fighting their tails off.
Coach, one of the things you told us is you needed to find some balance on offense. You know, you lost Julian Stokes. We knew what he meant to this team, but you needed to find some balance. And all of a sudden, you generated some significant yards on the ground here tonight, more than 200 yards. Tell us how that happened.
Well, we have some good tailbacks, and I think last week we went with a strategy which we didn't make see the holes that we needed to do during the course of the game. We have a talented stable. We lost Julian, but the rest of those guys really stepped up today. Real proud of what they did this entire game.
Let me ask you a question. We also talked about the loss to Yale last week. And not to diminish Yale's effort, and I even said, I was on the field there, I watched it, and I just said to Eric a few moments ago, this Penn team looked very different to me tonight than the team last week up at Yale. Why do you think, and how was it different?
Well, I think our kids listened. They listened to everything we talked about the other day, which was to focus on the details that we need to get done, and the big things will happen. We were so emotionally flying off the handles last week at Yale, and we made some simple mistakes. Today we didn't make those mistakes, and came with a nice victory here.
You know, Ray, you've been around the block in the Ivy League a time or two. You've seen a thing or two. To have things in your control as the calendar turns to November, 3-1 in the Ivy League, a championship is within your grasp. You've got Harvard on the schedule. What does that mean for you and to help keep these guys on point and keep that message going down the stretch here?
Well, as we said during the course of this week, this league is as balanced as it's ever been. To be at this point right now, and I shared that with you, at where we are with all the injuries, how hard our kids are playing, and different kids are stepping up each game, which is really great to see. It gives you something to come fight for. Day in and day out, our kids come into work and know we have our goals are still all out there in front of us. But honestly, we're going to win tomorrow with a day off for the kids. Okay, come back Sunday and go. Let's go 1-0 versus Cornell.
Ray, I liked your look for Halloween, by the way. The visor, that's something new.
I went deep. I was going to go with the blue one, but it didn't want to clash.
I didn't recognize you when you first got to the field. We appreciate your time, Ray. Congratulations. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much, guys.
Penn Quakers get a win over Brown here tonight at Franklin Field on Halloween. So they are 3-1. Oh, yeah, there is the winner.
That
right
is
there.
my favorite.
That's number one.
My favorite.
The toast, and we got a piece of that toast up here. It hurts. I would wear a helmet on the field if I was down
get
there.
hit by one of these random pieces of flying toast.
Oh, man.
They'll take a toll.
The traditions, the history lesson, the trick play. We had it all here tonight on Halloween. For Jack Ford and our entire crew, I'm Eric Reed. Thank you for being with us tonight. Little Friday night, Halloween-style Ivy League. Penn wins at 28-21. So long from Philly.